Oh, little sleep boy. Adorable. Little pup's just adorable. Aye. That is a yawn of decompressing myself from a nice, decent old work day. Right on. There we go. Guess I already had these turned off. What the hell? I gotta yawn like a madman right now. This is great. Oh my goodness, look at you. What are you pawing at for? What are you pawing about? What? You're giving me a paw. What's up? Who's a good boy? Oh my god, you goofy dog. Wow, really? The first one here is a fucking bot? Are we kidding me? Are we fucking kidding me, my guy? Like, the first fucking thing is a bot. Like, wow. Wow. Why am I not shocked whatsoever? Do you mind, dog? Oh my god. Jesus Christ, I love it. Wow, that's just some awesome shit right there. Look over, it's just like private photos here. It's like, no, that is a way to get like 1,000 viruses on your phone. Come here, boy. Hey, good. You got. Sit. You gotta see it. That a boy. Papa. There you go. I love it. Wow. I just love how the very first thing is just XXX18 online. Nice. Just nice. Anyway. Let's get some tunes going here. Bada bing, bada boom, bada boom, bada boom, bada boom, dum boom. Hey, what the fuck? Stop this yawning nonsense. Because it do truly be a bunch of bullshit. I swear, dog, if you start. I knew it. Why are you doing this? Cease and desist, sir. Thief and desist, you goober. You little goob. Goob, that is the most absurd little boob. Anyway, my bad audio. Yeah. Okay, seriously, stop yawning, brain. God. That smells really good. Sweet little boy. I really don't get him. Like, he's eating his food, but he'll stop and then stare at me directly in between eating. And it's just really weird. This dog is just a really weird dog. I don't get it. What an absurd boy. Boom. Alright. Love this. Shroom house owner didn't know anything about illegal mushroom sales, attorney says. Oh my god. Shroom house had a clown car for management. And this is why I am also glad I didn't go there. Bail set for Stephen Tacky Jr. is set at $1.5 million. Holy shit, dude. Accused of running an unlawful psychedelic mushroom storefront on West Burnside appeared in court this afternoon. They believed the business was legal. They know goddamn well it was not legal. He said he didn't know anything about illegal mushroom sales. This mushroom house was raided by police in the middle of the night. 4 men were arrested, including Tachi, and the man said to be shop's manager. Based on the government allegations, they thought what they're doing was lawful. How? Bail for both men set $1.5 million. Tacky, a Canadian citizen, was ordered to surrender his passport. A former rapper is now living in Portland in an Airbnb. Wait, this person was a rapper too? A Canadian rapper? Dude, what the fuck? Damn Canadians bringing the crime over from the north. No, it's all about border wall in the south, goddammit. These fucking Canadians, to tell you what. These Canadians are bringing in the fucking crime, trying to sell us mushrooms, damn it. The store sold supplements that were like vitamin C. To the extent that there were sales of psychoactive mushrooms, it wasn't to the defendant's knowledge. Bullshit. Menu and store lists over half a dozen of strange psychedelic mushrooms for sale. Exactly. Prosecutors point out that in business was taking in massive amounts of cash and displayed an abject disregard for the law. Well, I mean, honestly, fuck the law that makes it illegal for them to sell mushrooms, but I want there to be a law to where it's regulated, so there's at least, business practices and business laws and workers' laws when it comes to their operation. It's like, I mean, fuck the current laws of it in the sense that, selling mushrooms is illegal, but I'd want this to be a thing in a regulated format, where, there's laws that can make it, more safer and better, especially when it comes to, the worker side of things, too. According to a probable cause affidavit filed this afternoon, police have been keeping tabs on the shop for a week. Bruh, like, you didn't need to keep tabs. Like, you could literally just, like, look at it. There was a fucking billboard for this place. 2 cops entered the store and bought over 30 grams of mushrooms. The mushrooms presumably tested positive and contained... Wait, so cops... Wait. So 2 cops just waltzed in there and bought mushrooms? Who is the moron that's like, oh yeah, here, these are, oh my god. Dude, what? Wow. What a clown show. Officers of the Portland Police Bureau's narcotics and organized crime unit seized over 22 pounds of sills. Oh my god. Detectives arrested while driving to CVS to pick up some Tylenol of his 2-year-old son. Oh, come on. Okay, fuck the guy. Come on, cops. Really? You couldn't wait until, like, the kid wasn't around. Geronimo, who's a Willamette Weekly reporter, referred to as Jay while discussing products with customers. Shop man, the business's attorney said. He worked as a videographer and shot one of Tachi's music videos, according to a now private Instagram message. He was hired to help with social media. He told police he worked there since it opened. The employee was not impressed by Geronimo's psilocybin expertise. He didn't know a thing about mushrooms, the employee said. Geronimo's family's in Texas, and he came to Portland to work at Sherm House, the attorney said. What the He said it was a lower-level employee and earned less than $1,500 a month. Sherm House accepted credit cards when it opened late October, former police said, but by the time its existence was widely reported, and it was a business cash only. Police observed Geronimo transferring money to and from the shop's ATM in the cash register. Customers are required to submit 2 forms of identification, including driver's license. The Portland Police Bureau said it sees records related to the illicit business, but declined especially whether it's included a customer list. It did. And honestly, that's the fuck thing about it, and that's why I didn't go there, because when I started hearing about that shit, I was like, fuck that, nope. I'm not going there. No. I'm not gonna let just some pigs and some cops just suddenly have my information when that shit gets busted. Nope. Not on my watch. I'm avoiding that with a fucking 10-mile pole, goddammit. In fact, I literally am. It's like well more than 10 miles away from me. Like, I'm staying clear of that place. Well, I guess it doesn't exist no more, so I guess I don't gotta worry. Is there anything else to this? No, I guess that's all the stuff for the article, I guess. But yeah, that Sherm House was sketch as shit. Not paying workers, a proper minimum wage, let alone a living wage. And fucking, just like basically doing a lot of under the table work and fucking, doing a weird, sketchy business front. And also wanting to collect people's information, and all that. It's like, man, fuck that. That is just some ridiculous sketch shit. That sure as shit ain't gonna want to support a business doing that. It'd be one thing if they actually treated their workers fairly and didn't try to fucking, like, acquire, like, half your private data and your private information. Because if it wasn't for those 2 things, I totally would have, been in line to get me some shrooms. But no. They have to be a bunch of weirdos and, basically try to scapegoat, people, and try to get other people to, burn down with them, basically. By getting the customers potentially arrested. Which luckily I don't think, the Oregon police are going to be that fucking crooked. They're crooked, but I don't think they're going to be that cruel and that horrible. I mean, maybe. Chances are they probably would, but... I mean, hopefully not, though. I'd hope that they don't do that. Because that would make a lot of people angry. Like, a lot of people mad. Even some of the people sucking to their fucking little teat right now. So it's just like, even to the people that are, looking at, the Portland police, pig udders and being like, yes, let me have some of that. Even then, like, if they were to do that shit, some of those motherfuckers would be like, what the fuck? This milk gone sour. Because that was kind of like, the breaking point, at least in 2020, was the fact that there were a lot of people that, for the most part, wouldn't necessarily go to more radical means to, like say their piece about cops and shit. But a lot of people did. And it's like, if they were to cross the line, again, basically, then, yeah, they would, feel that again, at least to an extent. Just because no one would really like that outside of the weird moral Puritans that don't want people having drugs in period. Like, there are some weird far-right weirdos that still think marijuana being legal in Oregon is a mistake, and it's like, you are a sad, delusional fuck. It's like it's done nothing but help this state in so many ways that it's ridiculous. Like, some of the issues when it came to, like, overdoses and other issues when it came to drugs and stuff, unfortunately, has kind of went back to normal, mainly because of the normalization of marijuana, and plus due to other factors and other circumstances and problems, like fentanyl being a major epidemic right now. So it's like there's other things, that, if anything, play more of a role than, the fact that just marijuana just kind of, like, is that normalized. Because it did really help with that, and it still does to a degree, but unfortunately, it's kind of evened out again. And that's just due to the lack of proper legislation and actual, leadership, from the local city, council shit, basically. And the mayor, too, which he's a corrupt fucking worthless do-nothing, so, like, expecting anything from him is a joke. And also, Renee Gonzalez, who just got elected, fucking Trumpy-style conservative. Like, this dude is already showing how much of a fucking idiot he is. And he's not even, like, inaugurated or anything yet. He hasn't actually been sworn in or anything yet. Because he was doing, like, some sort of, like, conference thing or some shit. And he was trying to talk about, like, the problems when it came to homelessness and, like, the worst places in Portland that have those issues. And he pulled up a map of, Portland, the greater Portland metro area, of, like, shootings. Of, like, yeah, here's a map of, like, where shootings tend to be the worst around the city. Not homeless people, and all that. Like, this fucking idiot just, like, pulls up a totally different map of, like, totally different data, and it's talking about homeless, and just totally just pulls up a absolutely different, piece of data to a totally different thing. It's like, my dude, you are an idiot. Like, you just got elected. It's like, man, what the fuck? Dude, why were people that stupid to elect him? And over the fact that just because Joanne Hardesty got demonized by, like, everybody in Portland. Over, like, shit that she didn't even have control of. And, like, the few things she did have control of, like, they just scapegoated her anyway with because of other people getting in the way. And it's like, what the fuck? I mean, not surprised, unfortunately, because she's basically the only progressive that was in city council. I mean, she still technically is right now, up until, Ray Gonzalez gets inaugurated and sworn in and everything, but still, it's just so fucking dumb. It's like people would rather take some weird conservative dipshit who, his only talking point was, like, law and order and fight against, like, homelessness and crime and whatever the fuck, and they thought, oh, he's definitely going to be in the great interest for, Portland. It's like, I mean, at least, we came to the voting reforms and stuff like that for Portland and being able to have multi-ranked choice voting, amongst other things. Like, he's just a lame duck. He's only going to be there, for one term. I mean, even then, if he still somehow sticks around for a little longer, for like 2 terms or something, you would still be a lame duck, because the ranked choice voting would just make it that much more easier to defeat him. And even for some reason, people, like, if he's, like, shows results, that you could manipulate people into, supporting him, then you might still have a chance initially, but at least the second time around, I'm not too sure about that. I mean, funny enough, we could have Ray Gonzalez in the city council and also have Jordan Hardesty back on the city council too. Which that would be awkward. Be in the city council, but your opponent that ran against you and won is on the other, like, in the same council still, and you have to like work with that fuck. It's like, oh my dude, that would be awkward. I would not exactly be friendly with that person at all. God, that would be really weird, honestly. But a total possibility. It's kind of an interesting thing about, like, Portland politics. It's that some of it is legitimately partially, like, kind of European, like, parliamentary based a little bit. And that's why, for Portland specifically, we have bureaus instead of departments. Hence, like, the Portland Police Bureau and stuff like that. So, like, politics, at least for, like, Portland and the Greater Portland metro area, tend to be a little structurally different, because of that. It's kind of like how Louisiana, they have parishes instead of counties and stuff. Because of that, things are slightly different, over there, too. It's the same thing with Texas. Like, their shit's a little different. I mean, every state's kind of have things slightly different, but, I mean, some states have more distinct differences than the other. Like, Texas, Louisiana, and Oregon, and at least mainly Portland, tend to be some of these places. And, at least for Portland, especially with the now ranked choice voting, I mean, that's like only really been something that's been enacted in a couple places, and mainly in like either like city areas in like the U.S. or Canada, or in maybe like provinces or certain areas, and at least to maybe a minor degree in like maybe national European elections. But even then, not like a true multi-ranked choice voting. So, kind of new on the curb with that one. We're kind of doing our own thing with that. So getting the ball rolling with it. Hopefully, the rest of the state gets multi-ranked choice voting, because I'd fucking like to take advantage of that. I'm not in the same county, so I don't exactly get to have that multi-ranked choice voting stuff. So, kind of sucks. But at the same time, I get to deal with weird stuff about Clackamas County politics, and shit here's whack. It's so weird. Like, you'll legit get some, like, weird-ass, like, racist people around here and shit that aren't, like, Proud Boy-style white supremacist racists and shit, but just, like, you're, like, someone who's bought into the American we're the best Kool-Aid bullshit, where it's like, oh, these other countries are basically, like, shitholes and we're the best, and our people here are the best, and blah, blah, blah. Like, it's, like, ignoramuses that kind of buy into that a little bit. And, like, at the same time, you also get, like, some very holier than that, like, very progressive, radical left anarchist types, like me, if anything, so it's like, around here, things are a little weird and whack like that. And also, the predominant group, the libs, of course, I mean, they're pretty much predominant, like, anywhere around here, but, I mean, it's like, outside of them, there's usually, like, one or the other when it comes to radical extremist shit. Like, I was hearing, like, it's like I was hearing one of my other coworkers, actually, when they were, because they were talking about, like, South Park in, like, an episode where they were, like, in India or some shit. It's like, man, it's like, like South Park, dude, it's like, they pretty much have, like, trash and shit everywhere. It's like, man, fucking India, those weird, like, Apu-looking motherfuckers. And I'm just sitting here, like, I didn't, like, look at them, like, what the fuck, but I was kind of, like, what? Like, what the fuck? I was legit, like, it's like, okay, goddamn. It's like, what did, all those people ever do to you? It's like, Jesus. It's like, yeah, like, there are some parts of India that are just straight up, like, very bad when it comes to sanitation and stuff. Like, really bad. Like, I ain't gonna fucking, critique that, but everything else, though, was just like, what? Doc got the roasted Husky MC. Hey, what's up? Also, it's been told that upon the moment of his death, this will be the last thing an art will ever see. What is it? Yo, honestly, if this is how I go out and this is how I die, then god damn it, I embrace death. I embrace it. I embrace the death of the Ninja Cat. Pinnacle vodka and Sprite, and honestly, it's not a bad combination. Yeah, you basically just made like a lime alcoholic seltzer drink doing that. Which I got this and 2 more of these. Hey, my homeboy Stefano, who's in Hawaii, bastard. Measure 111 started moving the rocks on Universal Healthcare. Yeah! Organ beam based. Dude, honestly, my butt cheeks were clenched so hard with Measure 111 because for a while it was at the no, and then like the next day it like ended up being on the yes and just scoot a little bit more and more to where it was like a solid yes and was like closed after that. And I was like, yeah! But Measure 114 ended up getting the same result, and hopefully a lawsuit at least stops some of the bullshit with that. So then I could buy more of these and not have to worry about anything. Fucking dumb. Like, ooh no. We can't tell if these were bought before or after the law was enacted, so, uh-oh. Ooh-woo. Might have to, get rid of some of those. Uh-oh. What's this? You might be doing some very, like, drastic things with this 40-rounder mag. Uh-oh, can't have that. It's like, God forbid they see my 75-round drum mag. Lord forbid that they, fucking, see that type of shit, because they be shitting their pants. They be shitting the britches. Honestly, like, I can be, like, critical of everything else about the measure, but at least be, like, disgruntledly okay with it if they did not have the 10-round, like, magazine bullshit, where it's, like, anything above 10 rounds is pretty much for all intents and purposes illegal and banned. It's just, like, if that wasn't there, I would just be like, I don't really agree with any of the, the wording necessarily, but the concept of the things that are actually in place with the policy specifically, I can kind of get, and I'm actually, for the most part, in favor with, like, the live round training and stuff like that, like, and testing and the whole permit thing. I'm okay with that stuff. I don't want to attach, to law enforcement, because those motherfuckers barely know how to shoot a gun. It's just like, so there's a lot of, even without the whole gun mag thing, or the magazine thing, it's just like, there's issues with it, but I can at least, be like, we can, amend those, later on. Like, have a measure that, like, adds, like, addendums to that measure, basically. To kind of help, make it more nuanced and clarify it. It's like, at least I can, see that. With this, though, it's just, it was so poorly worded and just so poorly done that it's just, like, it's fucking ridiculous. Like, there's a lot of people, left and, yes, right, that are just, genuinely opposed to this. I mean, of course, people on the right are just going to be opposed to it, like anything that has gun regulation in the word is, they're going to be just gun-ho against it, no pun intended. But, people on the left tend to be a little more nuanced with it, and depending on the regulation, if it, if people on the left think it, infringes on, their rights, at least when it comes to, just the general, access, to that, especially when it comes to their own marginalization and their, status in society, when being like a black person or a queer person or whatever. So, these type of people kind of understand more of an onus of self-defense, including the Second Amendment part of it, which is why there tends to be a lot of progressive lefty types that do genuinely are very pro-gun, because of that, because they understand that. I do. So, Second Amendment, flawed as it is, want to express that right, just like any other goddamn blood-hard American. So, while I got that right, and while it's here, I'm going to express that shit. So, I think anyone who's a queer or a leftist or a workers' advocate, should probably encourage the same. I mean, within reason and within responsibility and within, safe means, and obviously, for people that maybe mentally aren't, there totally when it comes to maybe being safe with those, something like that, then don't do it. Obviously, probably shouldn't. If you're just someone that thinks, ew, icky, boomsticks, don't want anything to do with it, okay, sure, fine, more power to you. But for those who aren't either of those, I would encourage you. It's like, if you're not either of those, I would most certainly encourage you to express that Second Amendment right. Safely and responsibly. But nonetheless, do so. There's nothing wrong with it. If anything, I mean, that would help change the culture of firearms, I think. Because if we have more people that are doing so more safely or responsibly and expressing that part of the culture when it comes to firearm ownership, it kind of dilutes a lot of this whole, gun-ho, take it from my cold dead hands and you can have, a fucking mortar and RPG as far as I'm concerned, goddamn it, type of weird bullshit. Because that's, as far as I'm concerned, kind of some toxic gun culture shit. So it's in order to, I think, dilute and get rid of that type of stuff, express and encourage more safe and responsible gun culture and firearm culture and stuff, because it does exist and has existed in this country for quite a time. It's only recent that this type of mentality is been sprouted out. Realistically, probably since about the 80s to the 90s onward. But before then, organizations even the NRA were far more about gun responsibility, safety, and training with them, and encouraging to be a part of sport competition clubs and stuff like that. So you kind of keep your training and keep your marksman skills and stuff like that. They were far more about that in comparison to everyone needs to have 1,000 guns and blah blah blah, and this whole lobbying campaign. They didn't used to be that way. In fact, the initial foundation of the NRA was basically just a club of northern Civil War vets that just got together to be better marksmen, to be competitive with southern marksmen. Because southern Civil War vets and a lot of southern Civil War troops, when it came to guerrilla warfare, tend to be better marksmen in comparison to northern troops, despite the more obsolete weapons that the South might have had at the time, because they didn't have the industry to have more sophisticated machinery being developed and shit. So, despite that, they did have very excellent marksmen and sharpshooters, and initially the NRA was basically to be established to help compete against that, essentially. So, in case, the South rose again, because even back then that was kind of a fear a little bit in some people's minds, they can at least have, veterans, that can help train other people and themselves to be better marksmen, just like Southern marksmen who, made their note a little bit. So, it's that type of culture is not really much of a thing anymore, outside of, maybe minorly, with some organizations like the John Brown Gun Club or, the Socialist Rifle Association. It's outside of maybe some of these groups, you don't really see it as much. Hence why I would encourage, more of that. Hold on, what am I missing? I may give you a button that granted you $1 million every time you press it, but a random person you personally know dies. Would you use it? I don't think I would. Is that a plot of a horror movie? Maybe? I think I'll use it one time to get the $1 million. But would you choose who would die? Or is it just random? That's the thing. Would I choose who dies, or is that random? Oh, you did say it's a random person. Fuck. Okay, I don't know if I would. Because what if that person happens to be, like, my closest friend? You know, like, I don't know if I could do that. I don't know if I could live with that. So, no, I wouldn't press that button. If it was literally just a random person, and that was it, just random person, like somewhere on this planet, just a random person dies. Because then the possibility of that being someone you know is, like, 1 in 8 billion or whatever the fuck. I mean, 1 in however many people on the planet. You know, so at that point, you know, I would be more okay with that because, like, you know, I really wouldn't think about it that much. And plus, I'd probably press it a few times. But if it's somebody personally that I know, then I wouldn't press it fucking once. I don't think I could either. I mean, if it only kills one person, what a rip. Well, no, it kills a random person every time you press the button. One time. So if you pressed it, let's say, like 5 times, you would get $5 million, but 5 people you personally know are dead. Like, see, I don't know what that random person is your biggest rival, but I don't know that. I don't know that that's the guaranteed odds. It's a random person. It could be, but also it could be like my mother, you know, like, or, you know, my closest friend, or a significant other, or somebody, you know, like, it could be anybody. Do I count as a person I know? No. I'm assuming in real life, like, you actually interacted to talk with a person, shook their hand, hugged them, or whatever, you know, stuff like that, like, in real life. That failed to see the issue here. Well, I do, because I know a lot of people personally in my life, and you know, and even if I might not necessarily agree with a lot of their ideas or politics or whatever the fuck or whatever, yada yada, like, I still want to press the button, you know, with the random chance they get whacked. Like, I wouldn't do that. Like, I mean, yeah, do I get $1 million if I do, though? I don't care. Like, now with those odds, I don't, yeah, If it was literally just a random person on the planet, you know, then sure, I wouldn't really care, you know, but, like, you know, I mean, I would still see the ethical qualms about it, but I, at least, you know, I really would not have, like, that big of an issue about it as much, because you know, it could literally be, like, you know, that someone on their deathbed in a hospice in Belgium or some shit, you know what I mean, like, maybe I did someone a favor pressing that button, you know, at that point. So it's just like, but I won't know. It's literally going to be a random person on the planet. Who fucking knows? And frankly, at that point, you know, whatever. But again, it's personal. Like, you're putting, like, a connection to it. And that's the issue. And I don't think I could do that. If I had, like, a lot of people that I genuinely would love to see, like, gone, you know, that I personally knew, then I probably would press that button. Just on the off chance. But I mean, like, I don't know. I don't have that. Change of scenario. You get a penny every time the button is pushed, but something randomly bad happens to Ted Cruz. Like, I'm literally gonna do this. I'm gonna take 2 hands and just go. I'm just gonna literally, like, do a double bass pedal and just endlessly press that button non-stop. I'm just gonna like, my fingers are going to be hurt and have calluses, and, like, I'm gonna have, like, joint problems because I'm doing that as fast as I can, like, as rapidly as possible, and not stopping whatsoever. Like, I refuse to stop pressing that button. Like, you would actually have to pay me, like, 5 times the amount of what I might be having at that current moment in time while pressing the button. So if that means I've pressed that button, like, 8,000 times, then you have to, like, pay me however much in that, like, 5 times, you know, over and shit. It's like, you're gonna have to, like, pay me to stop. Like, if anything, it would be torture for me, because I wouldn't leave. It would be like some weird, like, masochistic torture session of, like, I am in pain, but goddammit, Ted Cruz is feeling in pain too. You know, just like a weird mutual sadistic, like, masochistic session of just, like, torture for both of us, because I know Ted Cruz somewhere is just being brutalized in some way, or heavily embarrassed or something. And he deserves it too. like, his daughter is, like, trying to self-harm herself and, like, Roblox herself because, well, Ted Cruz exists. It's, like, I mean, I really feel bad for her because, like, I mean, and that's why I do wish, you know, like, all the worst things about Ted Cruz. Because he's a piece of fucking shit. Like, he literally thinks that, like, an attempted suicide is just some, like, personal family matter and just something to just kind of rule off. He don't give a fuck. He doesn't care about, you know, his bisexual daughter's own well-being. He's fucking disgusting. It's fucked. It's just shitty. It's like, even my mom wouldn't fucking be that way about it. And, you know, when she fucking found out I was bi, she literally was crying, saying, "Where did I go wrong?" And even I know she wouldn't fucking act like that. Because she still at least sees me as her kid, regardless of who I am and shit. She's always told me that even then, you know, while she was crying. It's like, I mean, you're still my kid, I'll do anything, you know, for you, but, why did I go wrong here? It's like, Jesus fucking Christ, you did it for one, and for two, like, nice guilt trip. I smashed his daughter. She's underage, you know that, right? Like, she's like fucking 14, bro. Dude, she's like 14 or 15 or something. When she turned 20, of course. Venom, I got my fucking eye on you, bro. I mean, she's underage. I thought she was 18. I'm pretty sure she's like 14 or something. Like, the oldest is 14, which is the bisexual daughter, and the youngest one's like 11 or something. Like, I'm pretty sure. I think. I'm pretty sure. Unless I'm wrong here. You need to do more research first. I know this much, I'm pretty sure she's still underage. But, like, I'm not too sure she's like 14 or what, but, like, I'm pretty sure she is. Like, TJ was just reacting to it on a stream. He was talking about it. Like, I mean, I remember him saying about her being 14 or something. So, like, yeah, she's definitely not of age of anything like that. I disavow that smash comment on basis of I am not a PDF file. That's why I have my eye, bro. It's like, dude, you might want to research this further. Because I at least, you know, I'm confident enough to say that she's 13. She's 13. So she's younger than I thought. I thought she was 14. She's straight up 13. Bruh. Dude, what? Bruh. I know you retract that smash comment, but bruh. Like, dude, my guy. Caroline Cruz, right? I'm pretty sure. Right, like, I don't know what her name is. I just know that she's the oldest one. The article I read is she's about to be 17, about to be 18. You know what? I know TJ, like, clipped the video, you know, or the segment about Ted Cruz's daughter. Let's just fucking, like, watch that, because he will say it somewhere.
Police have responded to the home of Texas Senator Ted Cruz after an alleged family matter involving one of his daughters. Police responded to Cruz's home in upscale River Oaks neighborhood of Houston, Texas on Tuesday evening. Houston police told KTRK that they responded to reports of a 14-year-old with self-inflicted wounds but did not confirm whether the teenager was a member of Cruz's family. It was. The teen has been taken to the hospital and her condition is unknown. A representative for Cruz confirmed that his daughter is okay and suffering no serious injuries. And his daughter Caroline took to TikTok earlier in January to share some of the pros and cons of having a father as a senator. She received a series of questions regarding what it was like to be the Republican politician's daughter and discuss her family life. Some of the good things are we get candy and gifts in the mail. We also get to travel sometimes. She also ran through a list of bad things, explaining why
sometimes
the senator's daughter is difficult. I literally have to have security following me everywhere. Like, if I want to go on a walk through the neighborhood or to my friend's house or something, I have to have 2 security guards behind me the entire time.
Well, that honestly fucking sucks. Like, I mean, I get it. Like, I mean, you're a high-profile person, or at least related, you know, to someone who's high-profile, so you probably need that. But, like, Couldn't they just, I don't know, like, keep a distance, like, you know, like, they're Secret Service dudes. That would drive me fucking crazy. I know, dude, having security guards with me anywhere I go out in public, dude, that would get annoying. Like, I understand maybe their presence probably being there, but they can, you know, back the fuck up a little. Like, I mean, they could be like a block down the road as long as they got eyes on me and as long as they know that I'm fine, you know, whatever. I bet she ends up hating her dad in later on in life if she doesn't already. Dude, I guarantee you she fucking hates him a lot. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if she ends up being like a lefty, you know, LGBT influencer or something.
Media team photoshopped her outfit in a photo.
Actually, you know what? I'm willing to call it. I bet she would be. You know what? I'm willing to call that. Mark my words with that shit. I am making a prediction that, you know, she would be, like, probably, like, you know, a lefty LGBT influencer on Twitch or TikTok or something. Like, I mean, it maybe not those platforms, but maybe somewhere on social media. Like, you know, maybe Twitter or even. I don't know. Like, she's somewhere. Like, she'll probably, you know, once she, you know, becomes more of age and becomes more of an adult and matures more and stuff and gets more of a sophisticated, you know, political mindset. I mean, I feel like she would actually be kind of an influencer. She already kind of has, she's already been kind of doing it. So it's like, especially after this type of shit, I mean, yeah, she probably, you know, not intentionally, but it's kind of making more of a name for herself, you know, which, you know, like, considering how she probably does not like her family at all, or at least her dad especially, and I don't blame her. I mean, it's just like, yeah. I mean, I'm someone who grew up in a partial Christian household, I mean, because my mom was, and she tried to enact a lot of that type of stuff in my upbringing and shit, and I'm someone who's bisexual, and yeah, it did not exactly do me any fucking favors. And I can only imagine what it'd be like, you know, to be in a house, you know, like a household, like, under fucking Ted Cruz and shit. Like, cause goddamn, that would be fucking horrible. Like, I probably feel the same way as she did, you know, growing up, honestly, if I had to live in the same circumstances. And the fucked up thing is, there's a lot of, you know, buying other queer folk that do. And they probably do feel this way. I mean, that's why, you know, like, so much of this hardcore conservative rhetoric and, you know, mindset and lifestyle is legitimately fucking dangerous. Because, you know, there's a lot of people like me that have grown up, you know, under these type of households and shit, and have, you know, frankly, probably have had, like, more times of doing self-harm and shit like that than, frankly, we'd probably care to fucking admit. I mean, luckily for me, not as much, but, you know, because of that type of stuff, I mean, it, you know, like, it does happen, and it's serious shit. And it's like, and I really definitely fucking empathize with, you know, Caroline Cruz and shit, you know, considering the upbringing that she has. I mean, it's fucked. Like, I mean, no one should have to go for that bullshit, but alas, you know, there's, I mean, a lot of fucking people, you know, her and the thousands of other kids throughout this entire country that have to go for that type of shit, and frankly, fucking worse. Like, I mean, what she's probably going through, you know, like, there's probably you know, like, at least, like, you know, 100 plus different kids out there that are going through 100 times worse.
To demonstrate Cruz's conservative views. She shared a snap of the group photo in which she appears to be wearing a waist-length knitted shirt before sharing an image of her in a crop top with an identical design. Carolyn said, on the Christmas card, they literally made my shirt longer. It just shows the artifice of Ted Cruz, too, because if he really had an objection to what his daughter was wearing, wouldn't he have just been like, there's no way you're wearing that, young lady? Instead...
I mean, like, that's fucked. Like, Ted Cruz is such a callous, does not give a fuck about his daughter's piece of shit, that he would rather just, like, you know, not even telling them, but behind their back, just edit the fucking photo, you know, after the photos are taken. Which is just scummy. It's just like, even, like, and I think, you know, confronting your kid about, like, hey, you shouldn't be wearing this and blah, blah, blah. Like, even I think that's fucking scummy. But at least you're not a goddamn coward, Ted Cruz, you fucking bitch. It's like, at least you'd be like, hey, I don't want you wearing this because I feel like it'd be a little inappropriate for our, you know, Christmas photos. You know, could you put something on a little more? Like, even if you made an excuse of, like, you know, because it's Christmas and winter, I mean, you know, we want to kind of look like, you know, at least, you know, we're a little bundled up, you know, because it's in the winter and stuff. Like, you can make some dumb fuck excuse. But no, you just rather go behind her fucking back and just, like, have some, photographer edit it, up a little bit after the fact and just, like, cover up more, with some edits. It's like, fuck you, dude, you piece of shit. I mean, either way, you're a piece of shit, for trying to make your daughter cover up behind her back or, trying to confront her with it. But at least have the balls to confront her about it, you weaselly little shit. And shave that fucking beard off. I mean, you like, it annoys me that you have a fucking beard, you weird little rat. Like, you look better without the beard. For a while, I thought it actually kind of worked, but now it literally annoys the shit out of me. There was, like, a point for, like, a month or two where I'm like, this actually kind of brings a point or two for Cruz, but nowadays, basically, have not done anything with it besides just make it look more greasy and ugly and worse on him. It just annoys the fuck out of me that he has it, and I just want, like, if I could, I'd hold him down and just, like, shave that beard off, and I wouldn't just do it with, like, a razor or something. I'd take, like, a straight, like, Bowie knife and just shave him with that. It's like, it's like, I wouldn't make it comfortable at all. Like, I wouldn't, harm him. I would just use the knife just to shave him, It's like, I'm not going to do anything else with him. I mean, I might punch him in the face afterwards, but, I mean, like, I'm still going to shave him, but it will hurt, and it will not be comfortable. Because that will probably, pull on his beard hairs, and all that, and I'm sure that will not exactly be comfortable. Or not painful,
Yeah, just Photoshop it longer. Also, she's the only one not wearing a fake smile in this photo. But imagine Wait,
hold up. I want to enhance it a little bit. I want to see. Oh my god, dude. She's literally the only one not smiling. She just has, like, this little... She kind of has, like, this little smug look of, like, I don't want to be here. Dude, she straight up has the look of, like, I literally don't want to be here. Fuck this. This sucks. Which, I feel her. I have those vibes sometimes. My mom was a photographer, so whenever I would have photo shoots, especially growing up, oh my god, I would have to sit there and, like, maybe barely adjust, like, oh, can you change your smile this way a little bit? No, not like that. No, more like the other way. Okay, perfect. And it's like, I literally just went exactly back to my smile initially that you said did not work. Like, what the fuck? And then there would be, like, 10 photos of that. And then it'd be like, okay, can you slightly change your posture this way and this? And it's like, okay, I get it, but, like, oh my god. It's like, please, it's like, you don't have to be an absolute perfectionist, but unfortunately my mom was legitimately a perfectionist about shit, and I feel bad for everyone having to go for that perfectionism, when it came to getting the photos.
Also, she's the only one not wearing...
I mean, not a dog on her, though. My mom actually made some pretty damn good, photos and stuff and shit, and she was actually pretty stubborn. She didn't want to do digital, so she was, like, one of the few photographers in the area that was still doing it, like, analog style and shit, and I was like, god damn. She still has some of those, like, lying around somewhere, like, stored up somewhere in this house.
Like a bisexual teenager, and your father is fucking Ted Cruz. Not fucking Ted Cruz.
Oh my god, that's a little too fucking accurate. Minus the precise measurements. It's like, honey, it's simple. Your smile needs to be approximately 3.4 centimeters until your head left about 4 degrees. She wouldn't be precise measurement, but it would be like, honey, it's simple. Your smile needs to be just a little bit more pronounced and expressed, and just tilt your head a little bit more to the left. Just ever so slight, and I'll tell you when to stop. Stop. It's like, this is extremely uncomfortable.
It's way worse than your father fucking Ted Cruz. Your father fucking Ted Cruz is kind of a bragging right. Like, see that dude? That homophobic politician on TV? My dad banged him.
You know what? That would be a bragging right, actually.
It's pretty fucking crazy, dude. Your dad being Ted Cruz, in and of itself, is already kind of like, oh, man.
Did you ever give it an angry smile? Yes. After a while, sometimes I would get so mad that I would have, like, the, like that smile of, like, I want to hurt things and destroy things. Yeah.
Straw. Then
sometimes it would fuel the smile.
Attractions too. God damn it. I'm bisexual, but my dad's Ted Cruz. That's not a Hallmark card. That's painful. That's not a good thing. She's hated him from birth. I mean, wouldn't you? I think we all would.
We all would, definitely. Whoa, okay. Well, that happened. The amazing atheist. Honestly, my only gripe about that song is the vocals are a little meh. It's a good song. Instrumentation is pretty good, but vocals are, I don't know, they're kind of a little underwhelming in my mind. Until the choruses, like where he's like, damn it, you know, that part's actually okay, but like the verses and stuff, I don't know, it's kind of underwhelming. Yeah. What else is on it too? Oh, you know what? I actually did pre-watch a thing that I thought was... There we go, yeah. Only thanks. This when Ted was born, the star he was born under went out, indicating that even the very cosmos themselves rejected him. Yep, basically. Anything that isn't screaming nonsense is meant to ignore Lamau. Oh, fuck you! Well, no, I can... Dude, you know what? Hold up. I'll find the song that I mean. Like, dude, okay, like, bro... Dude, I listened to goddamn fucking, like, bro. Okay, hold up. I listen to shit like this. I listen to that, and I also will listen to some metal every now and then. Like, oh my god, give me a break. Like, yeah, and I don't always listen to... I don't always listen to that. Like, fucking get... Oh my god. I like that, but I don't always listen to that. So, I was earlier today, though. Was listening to some, like, Cataclysm and some Brujeria. Brujeria is, like, this Mexican-American, like, extreme metal band and shit that talks about a lot of crazy, brutal shit, to be frank. A lot of, like, anti-Christian stuff, talks about, like, illegal border crossing shit. They actually have a song that's about the Zapatistas, a pro-Zapatista song. Literally just called Revolution. So, they got a lot of, you know, extreme bents, I would say. And also, are pretty bent left, especially if they have a pro-Zapatista song. Screaming nonsense or country bumpkin music. Oh, fuck off! That's also not all what I listen to. I listen to, like, synthwave, I'll listen to blues, jazz, rock music, and, like, dude, oh my, like, bro, I listen to a variety of things, sir. Like, good lord, I listen to, like, punk, listen to, like, you know, some fucking, like, symphonic metal stuff, which is not screaming at all. A lot of that usually are female vocalists that are like, oh, you know, doing things like that usually. So, like, in fact, I grew up with a lot of that. Like, there's industrial metal, which is not usually a lot of screaming. I mean, Rammstein's a pretty perfect example of industrial metal, especially the early stuff. If I didn't like you, I want to give you grief. That's what they all say. See, the only reason why you give me grief is because you want to try to low-cow me. That's what's going on here. That's what's happening here, sir. You're just trying to slowly but surely, like, grift me and low-cow them, and it ain't gonna work. If that's gonna happen, I'm gonna be doing it on my own fucking terms, damn it. Honestly, even I wouldn't do that. I guess unintentionally, I'm sure there are some people that would be like, hey, look at this guy. This little small bean. But, you know, that's whatever. I like doing this for fun for the most part anyway. Here's your cover of Auld Lang Syne. I don't know if they stopped posting, but this was made during the same year as the Infinity War. Wait, what is this? A hero cover of... Cover by Heavy Metal Heroes. Oh. Dude, I'm liking this. Oh yeah, there's a lot of screamo going on right now. It almost sounds like folk metal right now. I mean, this kind of is more referential towards folk metal, at least right now. Power folk metal. Definitely got some power metal vibes and some folk metal vibes, which those two blend very well. Okay, shown on screen. Maybe I don't want to. Maybe I just want you to listen to it. You know, I will. I'm not going to go back, but here you go. Okay, that's it. I like that. Alright, I'm gonna have... I mean, honestly, this is starting to make me bring up, want to like bring up some music of my own, because I know of some good music.
I like to fight. I live with my butler and a dick. That little Robin said, Batman, so I slapped that little bitch.
Yeah, this is during that shitty Titans show. Oh, really? Oh, the Teen Titans Go one. Hey! That's called a roommate. Or my dad. One of the two. Both of them are gone. That's my dad, I can hear him. Hey! Come here. No CW, or just a live action. Oh, there's a live action version of it? Oh no. There should never be a live action version of that. No. Honestly, I'm surprised. I feel like I've already listened to the whole song, but it's still like 2/3 of the way done. But definitely after this, I'm going to have to show some amusing music videos. Alright, Wolverine, you're being a little too sexual with this, sir. Why are we still on that? Okay, why we were still on that shot? I don't know if I want to see that. Why is the Wolverine being so weirdly sexual? But it's not New Year's yet. We still have like weeks until that happens. Come on, you know, Wade is the only man for him. He definitely is. Here, let me show you some pretty epic stuff. Let's see here. Which song should you know what? We're We're gonna do this one. Yeah. Some good folk Hunnic metal. Or Hunnic rock. Yeah, but you know December X/James Forever. This is also equally as long. I'll turn up just a little bit. But dude, look at the Mongolian countryside though. It's fucking vast, dude. I'd love to visit Mongolia someday, honestly. It's Wolverine's real name. Wait, Howl Like a Wolverine. Scott hat. Oh yeah, Howlet. Oh yeah. Oh, I like it. I didn't even realize that either. And by the way, the new Mongol horde will not be on horses. They'll be on bikes. Just imagine them with like bows and rifle. Well, I guess some of them will be on horses, but imagine if they were just like with spears and bows and shit on their bikes, just like charging into battle with that. I really want a horse that fiddle. That looks so awesome. I just saw some awesome Genghis Khan with Ghost Rider powers. Well, goddamn. Well, that's just a... Don't unleash that on the world. I like how they have just like a whole like Mongolian biker gang with them too, which is just so it shows that like the whole biker culture is like a very international thing. And I love it. And I love the lyrics too. It's just like, oh goddamn, all right, send me to battle. I'm ready to fuck shit up now. Honestly, those lyrics are pretty fucking epic. If you come as tigers, they'll come at you as lions. It's just like, damn. At least what I like is that their heaven isn't actually a Christian heaven, it's the Tengriist heaven. It's a different version of it. And honestly, their like kind of religion is a little badass a little bit. I mean, honestly, a lot of the Far Eastern cultures tend to be pretty badass. I mean, honestly, this is just like, I think, a perfect example of some of that. What's that like? You know, I mean, I think it's honestly kind of more similar to like you know how like Elysium is a little bit, if you know what that is. I forgot, honestly. I haven't really delved too much into it in a while, so honestly my info's a little rustic. because my more general interest when it comes to like religion or mythology tends to be more of like Germanic or like European based mythology and stuff like that, with like, you know, Celtic or Norse paganism and stuff like that. I don't really know as much about like the Far Eastern cultures. I mean, I've looked into some of it, but I don't remember as much of it. I know it's kind of like also, you know, kind of similar to, you know, to Buddhism in a way, to where like, you know, you could be, you know, someone who is a Tengrius, but, you know, doesn't necessarily, you know, outright totally believe in like a god or anything, because there isn't really like a one singular god or goddess, you know, necessarily either. It's kind of like similar to Aminism in a way, where it's kind of more of like a, you know, or like kind of Wiccanism in a little bit, where it's like an akinment towards like nature and the, you know, spiritualism of the planet and Earth a little bit. Actually, there's another music video that they did. Okay, this music video is pretty badass too, of another band from New Zealand. But you know, I know it's actually right here. Actually, I'll kind of skip a little ahead here, because like the first like 60 seconds are just kind of random shit. See, kind of a little random compilation of things, but this actually kind of, in a way, is a little subtleties, you know, to some of it, but also kind of a pro-environmentalist song too. And a really epic fucking, some licks to it too. Dude, they really got some fucking epic licks when it comes to their fucking music and shit. I love it. It's been so long eating, drinking, being merry, how strange, how strange. That's the name of the song. UV is meant to mean how strange, how strange. I wonder if there's an interview process of reincarnation. Okay, I'm looking at your record here. Always paid your taxes on time, never cut anyone off on the road, so far so good, but oh, it says here you ran over a hitchhiker. Cut me a break, I was drinking that night. Yeah, you're gonna be a fly. God damn it, not again. I also kind of like this other, you know, I have to go back a little bit. Also, this is kind of a critique towards nationalism, blindly declaring that only Mongols are the best. I mean, just replace Mongols with literally any other group. Yet, born to live as nobles, yet can't unite as one. I mean, it's a major, you know, critique towards nationalism, xenophobia, shit like that. Duh, only America's base. Well, I mean, that's kind of the point. Take Mongols out of that, put America there, and they're saying the same thing. It sounds so Western, too. Like a cowboy Western, almost. Zero self-reflection. Well, that's kind of the song, basically. It's like how, like, humanity, you know, in reality doesn't really have self-reflection, about how we don't really, like, kind of look at the faults of ourselves and kind of, you know, be so arrogantly, like, prideful and greedy. I mean, it's kind of the whole point of the song, because that's strange. How strange is it? Why is it so hard to cherish ancestors' inherited land? That's something that a lot of natives here in America talk about. It's famous how we can understand concepts and never apply them. For real. Oh, I love it. That's why it's called a horse head fiddle, because when you do that, that sounds like a horse neighing. It's so, oh, it's so cool. Fucking love that instrument so much. I'd love to visit Mongolia. It just looks like such a mystical place. I mean, it's like Iceland, but just like steppes and deserts and savannas instead. It'd be so cool to visit it. I know these guys tour around in North America because I missed an opportunity to see them live here in Portland. So it's like, at least, you know, when it comes to what, you know, checking them out, I know they do tours, and God, I need to check them out live so bad. Because they were a part of like a folk metal tour, right? Because it was them and like Corporate Colony, which is like a Finnish folk metal band, and then like a couple other bands that were with them. And I was just like, fuck. And I found out that happened after they showed up in Portland. I didn't even realize last second and, you know, couldn't make it or something. I found out after they showed up, and I was like, God damn it. Because that would have been such a fucking kick-ass show. I mean, with all sorts of folk metal from like Finland, Mongolia, like, you know, from all over the world. It's like that. That's what I love about, like, you know, music, especially when it comes to like rock and metal, because it's very expansive. Like, it's such an international like genre, because, you know, there's a lot of different subgenres with it. Because the Who is kind of more specifically like Hunnic rock or Hunnic metal, which is, you know, more about like, you know, like the Mongolian Eastern steppe style like folk music that's interwoven with a lot of, you know, metal, you know, type of sound and shit. Which also sounds pretty similar to a lot of like Western music at times, you know, a little bit like that, like a little bit, like there's kind of like a, you know, interwoven vibe, you know, when it comes to that type of shit. And I mean, that kind of shows like how much music can be pretty similar, but yet so vastly different at the same time, which is what I fucking love about it. Because like I've always said, it's like music, you know, is, you know, to me is like what like the biggest bridge that, you know, most people, you know, can have with each other. You know, that and food. You know, like food, drink, and music, basically. Like, people like to drink, you know, and, you know, people like food, and people love music. You know, those three. I mean, obviously, there's different societies, cultures that don't necessarily have alcohol as a predominant thing, like, you know, Native Americans, for example, but, you know, that's more of the third thing. It's more of a secondary. But the first two, food and music, those are always, you know, gonna be there. Like, no matter what. Carol of the Bells. Christmas song. Can't believe it's only 2 weeks. Dude, you're right. 15 days, dude. Oh, shit. Kind of like a rock version of it. $14 in my time zone. 14, 15 days. 2 weeks. Oh, I might have shown it before, but this is reminding me of a metal music video that's actually Christmas related. Okay, well, this did not become metal anymore. This became some like heavy synth and shit. A Krampus version? Oh, damn. Alright, I'll play that too, and then I'll play mine. Oh, fucking hiccups! Go away! Ooga booga. I'm holding my breath. Are they gone? So far, so good. Okay, this slaps. What are you doing over there? Little hoe? I think they're gone. Ooga booga. They have left the building, and that is excellent. This. Okay, this actually made this melody pretty fucking epic. Honestly, dude, like, I still can't get over the fact that this song was playing in a more eerie, like, symphonic version when I was in that wake, you know, on Tuesday. Dude, I'm always honestly gonna be reminded of that when I hear that song, even if it's epic. Like, honestly, like, I just got reminded of that, realizing this is the same song that was like, god damn it, god, that was so fucking weird, man. It was such a vibe kill when that song started playing. And I was like, and I saw, you know, my other coworkers leave, and I was like, all right, I'm going to join them and be like, okay. And the first thing to start talking about was the music. It's like, all right, I couldn't, like, you know, stay there anymore with that music. And I was like, yeah, I kind of felt the same way. I was having to, like, tune that out and to, like, play some other song mentally in my head. So it'll be made fresh by playing in a different way. And honestly, why can't fucking, like, you know, these corporations and shit, like that have the music in the background, like, why can't they do that? It's like, why can't they, you know, go to, you know, like, some of these, you know, more indie artists and be like, hey, you know, like, you know, we'll use, like, these same type of tracks, give you a little cut and compensation, just like to do with any other artists, and just, like, we'll just use your cover of it to kind of freshen up, you know, the playlist of songs. They can even keep the original one on there, but having a cover to kind of help compensate with that will help with it a little bit, mainly because it will be open properly. You know, the fucking Siberian, like, orchestra, whatever the fuck, that does, like, you know, a lot of, like, winter symphonic music in a metal format a little bit. They played that shit on the fucking radio at Safeway at my work. I will hear, like, you know, the Trans-Siberian Orchestra. You know, so it's just like, like, how in the, like, there ain't no way it can't just because old people. I mean, it's like, that can't be the fucking excuse. Here, let me get the Krampus version. And I have not seen Krampus. Well, this is sounding more like a traditional Christmas song. I actually know how to conduct a little bit. I've actually conducted, you know, before. It's pretty fun. Actually, it'd be more like a... This would be more in 4/3. So it'd be more like... 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Do 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 do. So it'd be in 4/3. Yep. Yeah, it's 4/3. See, See, I know music theory and I know how to conduct, so I figured that out. I figured the time signature of the song just based on me conducting to it. I thought it was 4/4 and I realized that ain't right. And I kind of started thinking, it's like, no, 4/3. Yeah, it's 4/3. But it works. I mean, that's why I love music theory. I mean, I'm a little fucking nerd when it comes to music and shit. And I can kind of figure out time signatures just based on listening to stuff like this. Most songs are usually 4/4, but every now and then that 4 will, you know, the beats per measure, the bottom one, you know, that'll be like a 3 or maybe a 5. If it's a 5, it will be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1. So you'll see one more like up when it comes to like a 4/5. Or based it around some mythological line. Wait, hold on. What? I've only got a few new Christmas songs, which is a shame because I feel like you could do a lot more of Holiday, explore the dark parts of it. That makes it great metal. Well, guess what? Guess what I'm about to bring up? Some metal and Christmas, and some of the more darker side of Christmas, but kind of a weird bright part of Christmas. I probably showed this once before. But it's called the Christmas Truce. You're still sung in a different language, still recognize it. Yep.
Thunder! Come on!
It's a movie based on the truce called Jolie Noel. It's honestly kind of a part of history that isn't really talked about. I mean, World War I isn't really talked about that much anyway, but... Funny enough, the Christmas Carol rhythm is in this song too. It's just a little different. I learned about it in U.S. history, which was my junior year, and sadly it was kind of glossed over. I wish we learned a little more about it. When it's a silent we fall, when there's land, we're all friends. Tonight we are brothers, tonight we are friends. We're not teasing, we're ignorance. Today we are brothers, we make and unite. We taste ourselves red, we do white. We don't turn virtuous, we feel alright. We don't turn us, but we'll fight. Christmas is virtuous, and Christmas all the fun light and home. And literally everyone's response was peace amongst soldiers. Fuck that. Said by people who had never seen the horrors of war invade their lives, or people who did and enjoyed it too much. Yep. Can link the song in chat. It's called Sabaton a Christmas Truce. Here, I could probably try. I don't want to do a post. Wait, hold on. I can do this. I would have to go to my stream on YouTube, so I'll link it afterwards. We're all friends. Tonight we're all brothers. Tonight we're all friends. No minute pieces of the deliverance. Today we're all brothers. We can unite. The place was us and the rivers of the white. The times of the riches, take of the night. As long as the rest of the gold flakes, and grace and riches, makes us all alive and home. And I love all the references to all the different, battalions and the different troops, that partook in this. I mean, you got the French, you got the Scottish Highlanders, you got the British, the Germans. I mean, that's what I love about it. This music video, every side, and, the Canadians, every group was referenced. Every, side that kind of partook and fought and, were a part of Christmas Truce. They all are here. That's just kind of the fucking craziest thing. It's just that, it's one of the last wars where it's, chivalry and, brotherhood amongst, your fellow man was still somewhat recognized, at least, at least pushed, despite everything. Mainly just because a bunch of politicians and a bunch of fucking generals and warmongers, decide, they had other ideas and other ambitions. And the fucked shit is that people like Kaiser Wilhelm, for example, people like him, the Emperor of Germany, that motherfucker would be on the front lines, giving medals, to soldiers, who had distinguished, efforts in battle and everything. That motherfucker would be on the front lines, but he had glee in it because that guy had such a high, imperialistic, militarist philosophy. It's known that, at least, in some parts of World War I, his escalations when it came to foreign policy did not help. Which is the main reason why Germany did get involved in World War I, is because he had a lot of imperialistic foreign policy ambitions, which led to World War I even further. It's almost like a punchline of Dark Economy. In the movie, someone said, "I doubt anyone will criticize us for laying down our weapons on Christmas." Cuts to them about to be hanged. Yep. Basically, also, a lot of these soldiers, essentially, were forced into different parts of the front line just because a lot of them made pacts, where it's like, hey, if I see you on the other side on the battlefield, I'm not going to shoot you. I'm not going to kill you. Which basically meant that, there's going to be less people, fighting, essentially. Instead of actually fucking, winning the battle, they're, befriending each other. It's can't have that. And all the officers were all fucking pissed off about it. In fact, many of them, were, trying to force their troops to fight, but just couldn't have it happen. I don't actually know if they were hanged, but it was just for the joke. I don't think there were. I don't think anyone got hanged for it. They were just switched into different battalions, switched to different parts of the front line, or, demoted. They definitely probably had some, punishments, especially when it came to the higher chain of command. They were doing what with the enemy? That was a legitimate response by, one of the people in the high command. I think one of the French generals. They're they're doing what with the enemy? What? A lot of the high commands on both sides were pissed the fuck off that happened. They were furious. And they're change up everybody in these battalions. We cannot allow, these motherfuckers, to befriend each other like this. This is unacceptable. And that happens so much, in different places on the front line that they basically had to randomize, their battalions and their regiments and everything, and switch them around like fucking, pawns on a chessboard, just on the fact that basically there would have been a fucking mutiny potentially. And there was. I mean, part of the reason why World War I ended was because of the sailors' mutiny that happened in Germany, because a lot of the sailors that were stationed at the docks started talking with a lot of the workers and the dock workers there, and a lot of them knew a lot of leftist, workers, like socialist theory and stuff. And a lot of them would get, rabble-rousy and converse and talk with the sailors who felt similar about their conditions, of war, and had their anti-war sentiments, but really didn't have like a real theory or philosophy to, put it in. And talking with a bunch of, pro-worker labor agitators and, in dockyards and shipyards and shit, combine those two and suddenly you got, soldiers on your side, basically. And that's what happened. And that spread all over Germany to where there was like these autonomous like little socialist republics. Basically there was like the Bavarian Socialist Republic that was a very temporary thing that happened for a while, and they weren't the only one to exist either. Like it became a widespread thing, because of like how much people got disenfranchised with the war. I mean, that's kind of the interesting thing. It's like a lot of this like leftist theory and a lot of leftist ideas and labor ideas and shit were a big, very strong, predominant thing in not even 100 years ago. And it's kind of sad that, we basically have to work from fucking square one, and we're not even on a level, to like, the sailors' mutiny that happened in Germany and shit. You know what I mean? It's like we're not even at that level at this point. It's like I guess we're kind of maybe getting there eventually, but like, goddamn, like we need to get there a lot more quicker. German chocolate factory spill makes for a sweet street. Oh my god! The spill chocolate on a road in Vadel, Germany in December. Oh, this is a couple years ago. 4 years ago. 5 fires in a town in Vadel in western Germany tackled an unusual emergency. Aww. I mean, it looks like this happened 4 years ago, though. But, hey, that's so funny. I love it. It's great. It's the most German thing. Dude, that really is the most German thing ever. Yeah, two drivers come out dressed in Baker Chef hats. Oh no. This is chocolate off the streets. Whatever shall we do? Whatever shall we do to this? There, you want to see here? Like, speaking of like absurd funny metal, you want to see like a ridiculous music video that is, and you can't really decipher it. Because this is absurd.
500 years ago when I was born, I crawled from the womb with a drinking horn. I held it to the sky in my tiny metal hand. I got real drunk before I could stand. Well, ever since that day, I followed the code.
Sí, yo creo que ya, no puedes dejar de actuar. Fantasy, do have you to say? Sing good and sorry, the stop way. We're only here to have fun, get drunk, and drink lots of money, and nothing else matters to me. We're only here to hit rum, shoot guns, and make load of party. Nothing else until you see. We're only here to have fun, drink up, and drink lots of money. Nothing else matters to me. We're only here to have fun. This music video is absurd, but I love the song. Check the chest party quest. Bow, bow, bow. Hey.
Treasure chest party quest.
Damn dog. Lamborghini, with the rock on my side. I love that lyric. In my Lamborghini with a flintlock by my side. Like, that's a lyric in the music world. A literal lyric in the music world. A Lamborghini, but also I'm carrying a flintlock, bitch.
Well, you know we sold out a long time ago. Now we're in it for the money.
The hook is in the blow. So run to the city. Lives us to see. Jay Jordan party. Yeah, Stormway. We're only here to have fun, get drunk, and drink lots of money. Nothing else matters to me. We're only here to hang from true guns and run for the money. Nothing else to suit you, you'll see. We're only here to have fun, get drunk, and make lots of money. Nothing else matters to me. We're only here to get lit, talk shit, and drink all your whiskey. There's nothing else to suit you, you'll see. We're only here to have fun. And it's booty. I love how the vocalist is also like a baby too. They CGI'd him as a baby. I love it. This music video is goddamn comical. I love it. We need to have fun, get drunk, and make loads of money. Nothing else matters to me. We're only here to get two guns and learn for the party. Nothing else to suit you, you'll see. We're only here to have fun, get drunk, and make loads of money. Just waving around a flintlock. Good gun safety. But they're pirates, so who cares? Pirates never gave a fuck about gun safety. They're here to drink rum and shoot guns, goddammit. Drops the baby. Oh. Oops. I didn't mean to drop the baby. Even though it's like a weird, like, bald, bearded baby that... It's like... such an absurd music video, and goddamn I love it so fucking much. That's why I love Ailstorm, dude. They're like pirate metal, but their music videos, I think, are probably what like legitimate modern pirates would probably be like, because they would not give a fuck. Like, I mean, that's how much I know about pirates. They don't give a shit. You know, like, they have like a, you know, sense of make sure they got the loot and spreading the shares amongst them all, you know, so everyone has like their little Lambo with flintlock by their side. Like, that's pretty much is exactly like what, you know, modern pirates would probably be like. Unless it's like, you know, Somali pirates, and it's a little different. Those are different pirates. But if we're talking about like Caribbean, like, you know, the classic, like what we know of as pirates, then, you know, this is probably what they would look like. You know, it's like Somali pirates, I mean, they're pirates too, but they're not like, you know, the OG, like, you know, what we know of as like the pirate of like the suave, you know, swashbuckling, you know, son of a bitch. You know, it's like, they're a pirate, but they're not exactly, you know, the glamorous side of the piracy, you know what I mean? They're not exactly the most glamorous side of it. The baby's already been born, you can't abort it now. No such thing as too late. Drop! Piracy goes back a long time. Oh yeah, it's been around for quite a long fucking time. Oh, kind of want to show that crazy ass like music video that kind of showed those wacky ass dudes. This, I just got reminded of it because this shit's whack, but I love it because this band is so fucking awesome. When they first like got big, they're straight up teenagers. In 1820, the Great Northern War chief Hungary got whoop. Hold on, let me go back and let me read it. Like, come on. Anyway, so the Great Northern War chief Husky departed New Zealand for England. On his return, he brought with him the word of God and hundreds of muskets. So Christianity and guns. Things will never be the same again. Captain Thagbid. Oh yeah, since his days at the parking line, yep. I know what you mean. Dude, this shit's epic. And all these kids too are part Maori as well. And I know at least in New Zealand, there are at least a lot of different New Zealanders and Kiwi, and like the Kiwis, you know, a lot of them are taught, you know, Maori, you know, as a language. So these kids are like fluent as fuck in Maori, and it's like, damn, I love it. Do you mind? Damn dog. Kind of love the traditional like Maori tattooing too that the guys show off and on a little bit. It's pretty cool. Do you mind, dog? I'm gonna hold on to your mouth. And the cool thing is, they actually have some of their relatives, like their mom and dad, for the kids. Like, you know, some of the relatives were part of it. Like that lady right there, I think it's the vocalist's mom. Because they're all part Maori, so, you know, they all decided to take part in the video. I think the old guy is one of their grandparents. What is this? Alien Weaponry. Kai Tangata. They're a New Zealand band that does a lot of like Maori folk metal and shit. It's like one of their music videos. It's pretty fucking epic, honestly. All the kids are like fluent in. They're all like teenagers. Well, maybe not anymore, but when they got big and when this music video popped up, they were still teenagers. But like they're basically just like, you know, teenagers who are part Maori and are fluent in Maori, and you know, talk a lot about, you know, different Maori folk, you know, and like, you know, different mythology and stuff, you know, in their music videos and their songs overall, and this is one of them. This shit's epic though. I love it. Sukov, do you mind? Using a musket as a blunt weapon. Dude, I know, Polynesian history is fucking crazy, dude. Because, yeah, like, I mean, people always say that, like, the Vikings are, like, crazy seafarers and, like, are basically, like, the people of the sea. It's like, nah, bruh. I mean, they are, but, like, the Polynesians got them, like, flexed on, like, on 1,000 Ways Till Sunday, dude. Like, a lot of different Polynesian people and shit, like, you know, from all these different, you know, like, oceanic places and shit. Like, I mean, there's some respect in the fact that, yeah, a lot of them originated from the mainlands, obviously, but they, in canoes, not like Viking ships and, like, some big boats and stuff, like, goddamn canoes, were able to, like, traverse thousands of miles of ocean and get into these islands and, you know, have long-lasting societies and shit. I mean, it's something to be said. Like, that's some respect right there. I mean, in a lot of their cultures, honestly, some pretty cool shit. Whereas the Atlanteans, Polynesians, they were delicious. They were very tasty. they were delicious. They got eaten. Well, funny enough, you want to know why some of the people in the music video are doing this? It's because they would literally eat their enemies. I mean, when they would die in battle, they would literally eat their hearts and stuff like that as a way to taunt their enemy, basically. They would do, like, some soft forms of cannibalism in battle, basically. And that's why they would do that, basically. Eyes wide open, tongue out and shit, because it's kind of like a way to be like, we're gonna fucking eat you. Like, we're gonna kill you so bad, we're gonna eat your heart out and shit. Like, that's, you know, that's some shit. They would eat out their enemies. Well, kind of. Like, you know, when they fell in battle, they would also, you know, cut their heart out and shit and, you know, eat it as a way to taunt and demoralize the enemy. That's the reason why you see in some, you know, some parts of the video where they, you know, they stick their tongues out and shit. Like right there, you know, it was a very quick little snippet. But right there, you know, it's just like, this is gonna be a nurse scene right here. Hold on. Right there. Like, when they do that, that's basically a way to taunt their enemy. Oh, God, dude, that guy right there on his shoulder, right there on the left, dude, that guy is really getting into it. He's like, ah! Like, you can't really see everything else, but, dude, his eyes say it all, dude. Dude, holy shit. Dude, these guys got into it, dude. I love it. They really got into their characters when playing that music video. I love it. There's still indigenous Polynesians in Taiwan, like Mexico and Central America. Yeah. Oh, yeah, yeah, totally. Not as many as they're used to, unfortunately, but, you know, they're still around. Still keeping, you know, some of their culture and stuff alive. I mean, I'll give respect, like, New Zealand, like, even in education, kind of makes it a point to, you know, try to educate people on that type of stuff, and, you know, even teach people the languages and stuff, and kind of keep that stuff alive a little bit. It's like, yeah, I kind of have a respect to New Zealand a little bit, you know, at least, you know, when it comes to at least teaching people the history of that type of stuff, and kind of, you know, letting people learn about that, you know. Obviously, there's some, you know, more darker stuff, you know, to some of that, you know, history and culture and stuff, but nonetheless, there's still a lot of really cool shit, you know, so And if anything, some of that more darker, more sinister things can be used, for some really cool music, like alien weaponry. So, which that band is really fucking cool. Like, I definitely recommend checking out more of their music. I mean, cannibals, like in Mexico, commonly known as the Aztecs. Oh, well, yeah, like, cannibalism ritualistically or even in battle. Oh, yeah, that shit was definitely, going on in all sorts of different things. Yeah. Oh, for sure. I just saw some imagine Polynesian soldiers like the ancient ones attacked the Chick-fil-A HQ. Oh my god, that'd be whack, dude. I'm a big proponent of keeping indigenous languages alive, proponent of them and being taught and children and culture, try to keep cultures alive too. Yeah. I mean, I'm in favor of it. Like, I mean, I kind of, think it's kind of sad that, like, with a lot of, like, North American, like, Native American tribes and cultures and stuff, like, a lot of their languages are basically still around just on the virtue that their elders are passing it down to, the younger generations. And it's like, man, that's kind of sad, It's just like, I mean, that should be taught to everybody. It's like, I mean, yeah, there's different languages, to these different, peoples and tribes and stuff, but, like, I mean, like, that shit was even useful even in, like, wartime and shit. Like, there was the code talkers, like the Navajo. We used the Navajo language as a way to do espionage against the Japanese during the Pacific War. Like, I mean, like, there's times where the Native American language has been fruitful to us in a lot of ways. And it's like, the least we could do is just teach that to people. The only reason why I know about that is because I looked up a book, I think it's straight up called Code Talker, and I just decided to pick it up and, read it and learn about that, just by reading on that shit, because it was about a Native American Code Talker who was Navajo that, would use, the language to essentially, help identify, different, positions, Japanese equipment, stuff like that and shit. And of course, the Japanese don't know anything or fuck all about the Navajo language, so they're not going to know what there is being said. They can't decipher it, unless they somehow get a Native American code talker, to be a prisoner and interrogate them and they give information. There ain't no way they're going to know that. So it's like they're kind of SOL when it comes to, trying to decipher our information. And, we are able to, gather more information when it comes to the espionage and shit. There's a lot of and agreed languages in Europe too, with movements to try to keep its language culture alive. If you're in Europe, UK, France, Spain, Poland, yeah. Which I think, there's, value to it. I mean, because there's a lot of legit cool shit, when it comes to, like, older traditions and older cultures, really kind of regardless of where it comes from. Like, just some pretty cool shit that, comes from that type of stuff. And especially when it comes to language, I mean, it's language. So, I mean, there's no, like, real reason to not keep it alive. I mean, you might as well, so... I mean, for that, that is lost and stuff when it comes to that type of language, to slowly but surely try to rediscover that and learn more about it, there's no harm to it. I mean, might as well, because that's just, on a broader level, just humanity's past. Like, it's just our humanity just in the past and shit, and it's just a part of learning more about it. That's, at least for me, how I see a lot of this type of stuff, and I think there's, can definitely be appreciation for it. Like, me learning more about, like, my own personal past, I mean, I can appreciate it. I mean, does it have, like, some sort of, like, like, mystical or, like, some sort of, like, broader, meaning or something? No, not really. But, I mean, I can have an appreciation to it, though, nonetheless, because, it's just it's just a part of the broader humanity's past, basically. It's just, just a little detail that I just happen to know about it, from my end, and learning, the little details of humanity's past from your own tree, it's like, I think that's, something to appreciate, and something, to kind of, be like, cool, that's some cool shit. I don't think that's, like, some sort of, like, weird superiority complex thing. I think, it's just something to appreciate, because that's just, humanity right there, really. I mean, when it comes down to it. What is your deal, dog? Why do you... who are the most related to the Finns. They live as reindeer herders. Look at the snow elves. They look like snow elves. The Sami, yeah, they live basically like in the northern parts of like Sweden, Norway, and Finland and stuff. Yeah, I know. I kind of know a little bit about the Sami. They're also, I think, called like the Sami, but they're pretty much the same. But yeah, like I kind of know a little bit about them. I mean, they're just kind of like basically the most northern like Scandinavian / like Finnic, peoples that live in that region. The salami. Oh my god. Sampi means Samiland. Oh, okay. Well, see, I kind of know a little bit. It shows I have some knowledge. I mean, is it a little rough? Sure, but I got, I know a little bit. Honestly, they just basically, I mean, in a lot of ways, just kind of look like, some very, like, I mean, I don't know, I don't think it's, like, the best way to say it, but, like, very thickly, like, Nordic and very thickly, like, Finnish, almost. Like, I mean, they harbor a lot of those type of traits, basically, is what I'm trying to say, essentially, because, again, they're, like, yeah, like you're saying, they're, like, pretty much, like, whiter than the snow that falls in the winter, like, I mean, because they're so far north and shit, like, they're basically, like, like, sheet paper white, like, yeah, like, they harbor a lot, like, very much, a lot of those type of traits and shit. But at the same time, honestly, like, some of their stuff is kind of cool. I mean, they're kind of one of the few, like Scandinavian, like, Nordic, Finnic cultures that kind of, harbor, some of the more older traditions that, like, kind of Festivus or Utah and stuff like that. They kind of still harbor some of those type of things a little more. And at least I know in some places, like, at least in some countries, like, I know in, like, Sweden, I think, like, they're not exactly, like, very well represented, and, they're in society there, which kind of sucks. I don't know much about, like, how they were treated, at least in, like, Norway or, like, Finland or anything, but I know at least in Sweden a little bit. From what I understand, they're not exactly treated that great. Not like, outright second-class citizens, but, they're not exactly treated, with the most greatest respect, which is kind of sucky, but so I'm going to try to find out. Anyway, yeah, I mean, from my understanding, like, there isn't really, like, that much maltreatment, and honestly, I think, at least from what I understand with Sweden, it's just because they're politically been kind of, for various different reasons, and been kind of shifting a little bit more conservative, but, I mean, I don't know much about Sweden politics, so I don't know all the specifics to that. I'm sure there's, some variables as to why that's at play, but I really want to know. We're kind of forgotten about traditionally. Yeah. I mean, I guess that's kind of where the mistreatment kind of comes from, is that they're just kind of forgotten about, and they're just kind of seen as quirky, because they're just not really well known about. I guess that's probably where it comes from a little bit. They're just kind of seen as, like, those, like, odd fellows, that, are in your neighborhood or something. It's like, oh, yeah, they're those, like, weirdo types. It's more conservative as long as Sammy casts magical pagan spells. Well, like I said, I'm sure there's different variables as to why, their government's been more conservative. And obviously, they got priorities, and they got their different narratives and shit. Like, I don't know much about Sweden politics, like I said. Like, I'm sure they got, different variables as to why, they're kind of leaning more right-leaning. And yeah, that's probably a part of it. The Sami have been stealing each other's reindeer. This must stop. It's like these damn farmers out here, stealing each other's reindeer. How dare they? Sami are also in Russia. Yeah, I mean, like, with that little, like, peninsula that's kind of, like, next to Norway. Yeah, I mean, that explains a little bit. Yeah, that makes sense. Because there's also, like, different, other different peoples, in that region, too. There's, like, Karelia, and there's, like, a few other different peoples up there and shit. in kind of that general region. I know I forgot their names, but I know there's at least like two or three other like different like indigenous peoples that are kind of in that little area. I know Sami are definitely a part of it too, and Karelians, like I know they're kind of a part of it too, because of the whole Karelia that's like to the south and shit. I could tell if all the reindeer looked the same, except the one with the red nose anyway. Ah. Apparently you can have like a psychedelic trip off of reindeer piss. And also get drunk off of it too. Like in Finland, apparently there's like, it's called Pussy. I'm not kidding, that's what it's called. And straight up, like, apparently I forgot, I don't know if it either gets you drunk or if it gets you like psychedelic tripping high. I honestly forget which, but it's one of the two. I have a Kurdish friend over the internet. Kurds deal with mistreatment a lot. He lives in Iraq. Dude, the Kurds get such a fucking bad rap. It sucks. Because, like, they get mistreated in Iraq. They especially get mistreated in Turkey. They get mistreated in, like, Syria. I feel bad for them. It's like, man, they can never catch a fucking break. I mean, I really do believe that, Kurdistan, or at least, like, like a Kurdish republic or something like that, like an independent Kurdish, state, should be a thing, honestly. Like, and I feel like, Syria, Iraq, and Turkey, can all, and also, I guess Iran to an extent, like, I know these countries can all at least, make an agreement where it's like, hey, well, just, like, cut the loss and just, let a tiny little snippet of our lands, in this little region, become an independent country, and we can just deal with trade and diplomacy from there. Like, but, no. Nope. That would never happen. That would never, like, it's like, good luck trying to propose that to any of them. Any of the world leaders of those nations there. Like, good luck. Other than hating each other, hating Kurds. Yeah, basically. Okay. Which is this sad thing about it. Like, I mean, I really don't see what's wrong with the Kurds.
It's a miracle I haven't stepped on you yet.
Please don't step on him.
Ever since you came here, I haven't stepped on him. And that's, like I said, it's a miracle I haven't stepped on him yet, because he's always in the way.
Yeah, touche.
If I wanted to step on him, I could have done it hundreds of times.
Well, good, don't do that. It's funny, Kurds are Indo-Europeans, or an Iranian ethnic group. You think Iranians would view them as kin, the way the Greeks view Armenians, for example? Well, I guess the current government, at least right now, they don't. I mean, I don't know about, like, the average Iranian. I'm sure they probably do view it that way, but I don't know about, like, the government. I'm sure they're not, well, obviously not exactly too fond of them. So, I mean, I'm sure, like, the average Iranian's probably okay with, the Kurdish people, and I mean, maybe, I don't know if, like, totally in favor of an independent state, but probably at least, are right with the idea, or willing to be open to the conversation, but I don't fucking know. It's made a reindeer see everything all trippy like. They wanted to just stare at our uncommon headlights. They'd probably see a pair of giant glowing carrots heading towards them. Well, that would have to explain just regular deer, too. And regular deer do the same thing, but they're not tripping balls. I mean, unfortunately, it's just because, for whatever reason, light stuns them. And that's why they stand in the middle of the road, because the light straight up stuns them and they get kind of like blinded, and they're just like, what the fuck? What's going on over here? And they're trying to like observe and look, but they really can't. So you want to try drinking normal beer? Honestly, I bet there's, just for weird fetishistic purposes, I bet there's some motherfuckers that have done that. And the thing is, you can buy that in the store. Like, at a Cabela's or some shit. Like, if you're going hunting, like, you could buy that. So I guarantee you, there's some weird-ass motherfuckers that are like, you know what? Let me try some of this. And they took a sip. I guarantee you, there's some weird-ass son of bitches that did that. Why? Fuck knows. And I refuse to, contemplate and understand that. But I guarantee you, there's some motherfuckers that did. I guarantee you, there's at least like 1,000-something motherfuckers out there who are alive in this country of the United States of America that did that. And got off on it. And they're just like, goddamn. Like, there's at least 1,000 sons of bitches out there that, were like that with that. Used to be this thing called the Arctic Olympics. They involved Arctic sports and things like ice fishing and snowshoeing from near the Arctic Circle. Well, I mean, didn't that just pretty much, like, I guess, get eloped into the Winter Olympics? I mean, I'm okay with, like, straight-up Arctic Olympics, but let every country partake, and just let the best man and woman win when it comes to those sports, It's like, it can't just be restricted to the Arctic peoples and stuff. I mean, let everyone do that. Who knows? Maybe, like, some fucking South African son of a bitch might, flex on, somebody, and be like, boom. I'm a better ice fisher than you, bitch. It's like some of South Africa coming up and flexing on everybody and being like, I got the gold medal in fucking ice fishing. It's like, I mean, who knows? I mean, there might be some shit like that. You never know. It was a separate thing. It was a niche. Well, just in the Winter Olympics, just add whatever the Arctic Olympic shit was into that and just let everyone partake. Let every country that partakes in the Olympics, have their own teams for all that shit. There you go. Boom. See who's the best ice fisher. And what else? Like snowshoeing? I mean, it's already snowboarding and skiing. So, there you go. It's like, what? You can't tell me you would not be impressed with someone in snowshoes, like, going down a half pipe or something. I mean, you can't tell me you would not be impressed. Like, I mean, like, let's be real now. I don't know if that would actually be a thing in the, snowshoeing part of the Olympics. But, you know what? I'm down for it, though. I am 100% okay with that. I would actually legit kind of want that a little bit. Let's expand the Winter Olympics. Like, honestly, the only Olympics I do kind of barely give a shit about is the Winter Olympics. Because of snowboarding and stuff like that. Like, I like snowboarding. I mean, I do it myself, so... I mean, I'm kind of into the Winter Olympics because of that, so... Fuck it. Add some more stuff. I'd be more interested to it. I'll probably watch it more often because of that. Did you know the first people to climb Mount Everest did so because they thought if they did, no one else would have to? Oh boy, were they wrong. They did not know what human nature was. They don't know what human nature is. Because when people do that, everyone else has to be like, I want to be like them. And then they're going to do it too. And that's why there's a bunch of fucking bodies up on Mount Everest that they don't even bother picking up as basically as a landmark to let you know, don't go that way. Because if you do, you're gonna die. Like, basically, if you see corpses, that's literally a guidepost as to guide you up the mountain of Everest. Like, I literally shit you not. Like, some places on Mount Everest, they just won't even
follow the bodies.
No, I'm serious. Yeah, no, I'm serious. Like,
just like, okay, there was a string of bodies. Okay, I'll go back.
I mean, no, I'm being serious. So, yeah, like, some places on Mount Everest is just so dangerous that they can't pick up the body, so it will basically be a guidepost. Like, they will pick up the body if they can, but if it's just too dangerous and too much of a hazard, they just won't bother. They just won't do it. It will just basically be a guidepost. Yeah.
All the trail of shit.
Yeah, because people...
Literally.
Yeah, people will leave their litter and shit. That annoys me. Like,
You have to take a shit.
well, I mean, I get that, but like when it comes to landfill bullshit, like litter, like you're leaving like, a can or something like that, that's some bullshit.
Oh, oxygen canisters.
Well, yeah, I mean, still though.
Is there anything left in this one? No.
Of course not. Why do you think they left it?
Just, why the hell am I up here? I should have taken the helicopter.
Yeah, take the tourist version where you just take the helicopter and just like land on top and then you go back down.
Mount Everest, but I'll take the helicopter tour rather than trying to climb up there by myself.
I don't know, maybe I'll be ballsy and try to climb it. It's a multi-day thing too, so I mean, I would have to have either a lot of weed or a lot of alcohol with me. Sherp guy was here on both Tibet, Nepal, UK. Who?
Yeah,
The Sherpa?
I'd love to go to top of Mount Everest, but I don't want to climb there myself. I'll take the helicopter ride. Oh, come on, dog.
Wow, we reached the pinnacle of humanity. I could do it better. Slapped the hand of a corpse, high five on your way up, on your way back down. Oh my god. Dude, I bet you there's some weird ass motherfucker that probably did that once. Here, gotta go to the bathroom real quick. So I'll be right back. Leave you for a nice little song. Hey, little butt.
Okay, come on. Come on. Suka, give me a break. Why do you even know the balls with the tail? There's pizza in there if you don't mind pineapple on it.
Goof. You just don't care, do you? Man, you're a goof. Look at you. You're a goofball. Oh. What? What are you doing? Oh. What the hell? What a goob. You're a goofball. Look at you. Oh my god. What are you doing? I did not. I did, but not in the runoff. Well, I guess it didn't matter because he won anyway. What's with you? You're a crazy boob. You're a boob of crazy epic proportions, sir. Dumb. Dreadful. Absolutely dreadful. What? You're a goober. You're a goof. Look at you. No. What you gonna do? What you gonna do? One. Two. Three. Four. And the five. That's about as much as I'm doing. Goddamn. You're a heavy bastard. You are a heavy bastard. You are a heavy boy. I would try to like lift him up, but that is not gonna work. Look at you, you're such a goofball. You're just a teddy bear. Yes, you is. You're just a little teddy bear. Alright, there you go. Yeah. Damn, fucking goober. Up. There you go. Our mountain climbing is almost like what hunt has turned into ancient times. We have spears in our wits. No, you have a sniper 4,000 feet seeking bullets. I mean, pretty much. Like, I don't know when it became popular, but at least when it comes to hunting, like, the 6.5 Creedmoor is, like, a very popular round. And it's like, where in the fuck did that become a thing? It's like, I've only heard of that until recently. It's just like, what the hell is this? It's like, oh yeah, and it's like, oh yeah, the classic, like, 8mm or something. It's like, nah, we got, like, some crazy, weird, like, hunkabally, like, weird ass, like, thing called a Creedmoor or some shit. Like, you know what? I'm literally gonna look it up. When this fucking became a thing? Designated 6.5 Creedmoor by Sami. 6.5 Creedmoor, it says, yeah, BR 6. Okay, oh, God. What? produced in or designed in 2007 by Hornady and produced in 2008 to today. So Hornady produced it and designed it in 2007. So 6.5 Creedmoor is basically something that actually is recent. The way Modern Hunter is active. Be shit on by hunters, just ancient hunters, especially natives. Oh yeah, Hornady. No, Hornady. Well, this Hornady, manufacturing company, founded in 1949 by Joyce Hornady. That's right, brother. And they, manufacture ammunition. They're an ammunition manufacturer. Hornady is funny. Funnier. I mean, yeah. But, hey, well. Can't win it all. But I've had some Hornady. Because they have slugs and other stuff and shit like that. And they make some quality goods. I will say that. They make some good quality ammo. I've yet to use their 7.62, but I've used their 12 gauge, and their Hornady 12 gauge rounds, good shit. And their slugs do legit pack kind of a punch. I kind of like that. I know my shotgun can technically handle it, though, so I don't really use it that often. Come here. Give it the blessings. Give it the blessings. What the hell are you doing? You're by that little door, staring at me. With the eyes reflecting, or with the light reflecting from your eyes and making you look like a demon. Stop looking like a demon. Oh my god, I stuffed in his head for that little kitty door. Most ammo production in America is public sector or for the government. Well, Hornady is a private sector thing. I mean, they probably get contracts for the government, but I mean, for the most part, they're a private sector industry. At least for Hornady. I mean, I'm sure like some businesses like 6 Hour, for example, or like SIG or Glock and those companies, or Winchester, for example. Like, I'm sure they legitimately like got public contract deals where they're pretty much like in tandem with the government and public sector for all intents and purposes. I mean, I guess maybe on the surface they're still technically private, but most ammo on the market in America is made in Russia, Serbia, or Italy. Yeah. Or for me, Bulgaria. Like, I'm getting a lot of my ammo. Actually, I have a box of it right here that's empty. That's been being recycled, but this stuff's from Bulgaria. It's right here. Manufactured by Arsenal and JS Co. 100 Rozova Adelina Street, Kneznak, Bulgaria. So, this shit was at least made in Bulgaria. But, I guess, close to Serbia. Basically the Balkans abroad, Serbia, Bulgaria, or like old Yugoslavian surplus stuff. At least you can find that too. And there's also, obviously Russian, and then, there's some Italian stuff too, and Polish. Like when it comes to at least 7.62x39 or AK platforms, Polish is also a pretty big one too. And Chinese, but, I hear a lot of negative stuff about the Chinese-based AK platform stuff. I hear a lot of good stuff about Bulgarian or Yugos or Russian stuff. There are a lot of good stuff about that. Or Polish. So, another movie I would recommend, Tokyo Godfathers, an anime movie. So, it's kind of cheesy since the majority of movies actually takes place after Christmas. In fact, you consider it more of a New Year movie, but to summarize, it's about 3 Japanese homeless people finding an abandoned baby and trying to relocate her parents, but It's a dub version. I'm not sure where to find it. I like Chinese arms. I mean, well, I guess I should say I hear mixed results. Like, when it comes to, like, an SKS or something like that, I hear a lot of positive stuff about, like, Chinese imported stuff. Like, the Uncle Fudd gun, basically. But when it comes to AKs, like, I don't really hear as much positive stuff with it. But yeah, like, SKSs or RPKs, I do hear good stuff about that, but the AKM, I mean, I guess I'll say I've heard mixed stuff. Some things I've heard pretty good, and some stuff I've heard where it's like, it's horrible. So, I feel like, some of it is just, like Puritans nitpicking and shit. Because I have an AK, but it's a Vishka by Century Arms, and there's a lot of negativity to Century Arms for some reason, but my AK, I mean, it's been flawless as far as I'm concerned. Like, the only issues I have are with every now and then the magazines, because they're newer and they've only been used like a couple times at most. Like the springs are still kind of stiff. So every now and then there might be a feed issue, but that's because of the magazine, not the gun. Like, the gun's cycling and working perfectly fine and is accurate and whole shebang. So it's like, there's nothing wrong with the gun. Like, the gun's actually pretty fucking damn good, and so that ain't the issue. So it's like, I don't get this weird, like, oh, Century Arms and, like, Vishkas are, like, garbage and shit and blah, 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 blah. But there's a weird moral Puritan, like, shit about it for some reason. At least when the people who are, like, into AKs for some reason. I think it's because, like, a couple years ago, like 2 or 3 years ago, Century Arms actually had, like, some faulty, and to the point where they actually had to have recalls when it comes to some of their firearms because of some of the poor production. But ever since then, apparently, they have fixed those issues and have actually stepped up their game since then, too. And have actually gone more above and beyond to, put better quality because of that. Because obviously, having to recall, a firearm and things like that, that really legitimately does bring a sting when it comes to the firearm community, because you are putting out not a good quality gun, which means that can be dangerous, and that can actually legitimately potentially be lethal, and that can be bad, obviously. So it's like, it leaves a sting, to a lot of people, with that. So just because they probably had an issue, but I've obviously rectified that and have gone above and beyond to fix it, and potentially even other issues, like when it comes to quality and control, it's like, obviously are different now, but some people have a weird moral puritanical grudge. It's like, nah, still shit. Even though it works just as well as any other goddamn AK. Like, that Vishka will probably be just as fine in comparison to, like, an AK-103 or, like, a Zavesta or, like, an M70. Like, it would work just like any of these other type of AKs that are out there, that someone can buy. It would be just fine. It would, compare just as well, honestly. I mean, I guess slightly different because the gas port is a different design in comparison to your traditional AK, where it kind of goes out and has a 45-degree angle. Mine's a short one where it's short and a 90-degree angle. So it's a little different, but still goddamn AK. And it works just as well. I mean, I love my baby. A little gremlin, I love her. She's great. A little fugly, rough around the edges, but hey, she's still beautiful. A very precise complex, get a Swiss SIG STG or a German G3. Oh, yeah. Dude, I'd love to get a Swiss firearm, like, manufactured from Switzerland. Dude, like, Swiss got a lock. They got a lock when it comes to, firearms and shit. Like, they are really good, when it comes to firearm manufacturing. I mean, shit. Like, I remember, one time I saw one of those straight pull, bolt action rifles. That was a Swiss, rifle. I forgot the name specifically. But it was, like, I saw it at a Cabela's, like, out in Tigard. I think it's literally the only Cabela's in the Portland area. And like, they had, like, at least, like, 10 of those, like, Swiss rifles and a few Gevers as well and a couple other things. and it was like, I think the Swiss rifles were about like 300 something, but oh, they were just so slick when it came to that bolt pull, and just a very beautifully designed bolt action rifle. It was just, if I, had the money and I wanted to say fuck it, I would have bought it right then and there, because it was such a beautiful rifle. Swiss bolt action rifle, small built-in telescopic. With an optic. Like, none of the rifles I were looking at had any like optic conversions, but oh my god. Oh, I'd love to have like a Mosin that had like the optic conversion where you have the optic sight attached to it and stuff. Oh my god, I'd love to have one of those. Or like they're honestly rare, but an SVD 40 or SVT 40, especially a sniper variation of that rifle. Oh man, I'd love to have one. Get my hands on one of those bad boys. Like an SVD 40. I'm pretty sure it's SVT. I don't know why I keep saying D. But an SVT 40, like, those, like, rifles, just as, like, without the marksman optic conversion on it, or the adaptation to that, like, I mean, it's already a beautiful rifle. But, like, the optic version, those are very fucking rare. And to get one of those in decent condition, like, you'd be paying a pretty fucking penny for that. Like an SKS, like an traditional style SKS, and getting the optic variation of that, like it's, those are more common. Actually, it's not there anymore. But I remember at the Sportsman's that I go to sometimes for outdoor stuff or gun stuff, like they actually had a Chinese SKS there, and it was only $400, and honestly, like, if it wasn't, for the fact that I didn't have money for it, and if I did, I would have bought that motherfucker right then and there, because goddamn, it was so beautiful. It has some engravings on it, too. Like, there was some side engravings where, like, it had some markings on it, and honestly, like, if I owned it, I would have, like, been looking up on, like, what those meant, and all that shit, because it was a rifle that was used probably in the Chinese Civil War. Like, I mean, and that would have been some cool shit, to have as a piece of history right there, and only for $400. It's like, man, some other motherfucker around here owns that gun. It's like, you bastard. It's like, because I want that. It's like, when I saw that, I was like, oh, I want it so bad. But, like, literally not even a day after I show up, to check it out, gone. Someone bought it, like, probably the day I showed up. And it's like, god damn it. Maybe upset. Because I really was kind of interested in getting that SKS. Like, it was nice. It was still in decent condition. The furniture was still original. I mean, it was all original and still in decent condition, despite being used probably out there in combat somewhere. I mean, it's just like, it was a really nice, piece, honestly. What are you doing? Stop! You freak? I sold someone after it broke and he couldn't get it fixed, so I eventually bought it back. Oh, with your SVT 38. I mean, honestly, I bet, like, if you go on Gunbroker, I'm sure eventually at some point you might be able to find a part, to fix it or something. Because, I mean, they are rare. I mean, that's the kind of thing with the SVT. Like, they're very rare to find. Even though they were used so much during World War II. It's just like, that's... told about it years ago. Oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah, this is the one that grandfather gave you. Yeah, I mean, it'd be kind of cool to check it out, honestly, all in all. I mean, even though it doesn't work, but, I mean, despite that, it's still at least, cool conversation and display piece. I mean, even despite that it's not functional, at least concurrently, like, it's, something that, it still has a lot of value to. And that's kind of why, at least for me, why I tend to like guns a lot, because I like historic guns more than anything. Or at least, guns that have some historicity to it, or like a platform that does, like an AK platform. Like, there's a lot of historicity to it. So, I like stuff like that, so it's like with an SVT, it's like, It's a really beautifully designed gun, and kind of became the granddaddy to the SKS eventually, because you know the designs of both firearms are somewhat similar. So the armor just goes for the 38 briefly, but stopped because it's design it can't hold zeroing. Yeah, that is one thing that was a major complaint. That's why, you know, a lot of Soviet snipers prefer the Mosin Nagant, because that held a zeroing, and why you can find, you know, Mosin Nagant scopes and Mosin Nagants with that variation far more easily in comparison to an SVT, especially a sniper variant of that, you know, weapon. Because they made, you know, just the infantry version, but then the sniper version had like that side mount, you know, on the side of it, which was purposely put on there so snipers can use it. Oh, the AKS-36. Yeah, that was a select fire. Yeah, no, I know what you're talking about. Yeah, it was like an experimental weapon that like had a wooden foregrip on the front of it, and kind of looked like the SVT, you know, as well, but have like a box magazine, and you can have select fire, and it would fire that 7.62x54 or some shit like that. So an automatic gun, even with the grip, with a cartridge that big, like, oh, like, dude, the recoil is gonna be fucking retarded on that shit. It's gonna be ridiculous. It's gonna be like, bleh. Like that shit is gonna be like this to this, like in seconds. Like within like the fourth shot, your like barrel's going up here. Like, I mean, it would be absurd. It was a lot like the original M14 with select fire. Yeah, it kind of was a little bit. It was kind of like the like long lost granddaddy to the M14 a little bit. Yeah. Because the M14 had a very, especially modern versions of that, had, you know, that type of select fire. But literally, because one of my coworkers, he was a veteran and was a part of the Iraq War, and he would have those M14s that you're talking about. He used and shot some of those before. And he would say that, like, you know, pretty much most soldiers would never use the automatic selector. You know, they would just basically be semi-automatic, you know, when it came to the M14, because the cartridge is so powerful. If you did an automatic fire, or even if it was a burst, that barrel's going like up really quickly. Even if you had really good control, because it's not like 5.56. It's not like, you know, a smaller cartridge where you could have some better control, you know, when it came to recoil. Even if it goes up a little bit, you can at least kind of control that a little bit. With like a 7.62x54, you know, you know, you can have some good control, but with automatic, like that shit's gonna go up regardless at some point. Maybe not that much, but like for some people, you know, even with that, it's gonna be like up here at the least. You know, like it's such a high powerful cartridge that it's kind of ridiculous, you know, to think that, you know, using that as fully automatic would be a good idea, unless you're like in a room, and even then that's a bad idea. So it's just like, I mean, it was kind of a dumb little thing that was added, you know, to it, but yeah, it was kind of a way to kind of help, you know, be, especially when it came to close range combat or close quarters, like room clearing. Like that was kind of the purpose for it. But why would you use that? Like when you have other weapons that are designed to be better met for close quarters, like submachine guns and things, right? Like, or even carbine rifles like the M4, you know? Yeah, so it's just like, why use a fucking M14 or something, you know what I mean? Like, why? There's no reason for it. I mean, I guess if, like, that's the only weapon you got, I suppose, and you're the designated marksman, and that's what you got, and you have to be, like, you know, part of the room clearing, you know, but it's probably very fucking rare when that happens. What are you doing? Yeah, well, what the fuck are you getting into? Yeah, you're looking guilty, little prick. Stop it. The SKS was supposed to replace the Mosin Nagant and SVT. The AK-47 was meant to replace the PPSH, PPD, and the RPD, and the DP. Yeah. And all three would use the same cartridge, 7.62x39 as an unity. Yep. Same reason why there's the 5.56 NATO round. Same reason. because it was meant to be kind of like more of a universal standard round to use for most platforms. Like, that's why a lot of, European weapons like the G36 or the G3 and stuff like that usually use like either a 7.62 NATO or a 5.56 NATO round, because a lot of those are very interchangeable, including the M16 and a lot of American-based weapons. Like, they're predominantly either 5.56 or some other common, American-based round, like a 308 or something like that. So there's a lot of interchangeability, so you can have like 10 different guns, that could be, that someone can have, but they can all use the same cartridge, basically. So it makes things a lot more interchangeable. And that's, if anything, a very easy way to kind of like, have a, less, logistical bullshit when it comes to, military conflict and stuff. Because if you have like different weapons that all use the same cartridge, then your ammo manufacturers can basically just be mass producing the same cartridge, just ad nauseum, ad infinitum, and the different weapons manufacturers can obviously produce the different guns that are needed, but at the end of the day, it's all interchangeable. And in fact, I mean, especially with the AK platform, there's some guns that with like the RPK and stuff like that kind of have a little bit of interchangeability a little bit. So having, weapons platforms that can interchange with other weapons platforms is also a good thing too. And I know the American military recently just adopted a new gun platform that is basically meant to do that, where it's like a universal gun platform where it could be a carbine rifle, a designated marksman rifle, a light machine gun, and it can be interchanged, to be, given the role, can be a different gun, basically. I forgot the name of it, but it's kind of a cool gun, honestly, because depending on the role, you can just change, like, one thing about a receiver and then the barrel, and suddenly it's a light machine gun, or it's a designated marksman rifle, or whatever the fuck, or a carbine. Like, I mean, it's kind of some cool shit a little bit. What are you doing? Oh, you need some water. Well, what the hell? You don't have to be so aggressive with it. Jesus. Germans had a right idea of the STG-44. Employing a submachine gun. USA could have introduced the M2. Oh my god. Okay, hold on. Hold on. That's M2. Listen. Yeah. Honestly, they kind of are, reproducing. Like, I know there are, like, some companies that are reproducing the STG, but literally only in 22. It's like, bruh. At the very least, you can make it in, like, I don't know, like 8mm, like 30-06 or something. Because the original caliber was like a 7.92 or something like that. Like a 7.92 Kurz. So it's like you can at least like make a version of the STG to where the round can be at least like a more common round or something. I mean, I don't fucking know, but like... It's like a 22 caliber version of that definitely kind of sucks. But in the real cartridge, oh, you're a lucky bastard. See, I've held an STG-44, but the receiver was like sealed up, so like the magazine couldn't be, taken out or anything like that, and you couldn't charge the bolt or anything. So that was sad. But I did hold an original STG that was meant to basically literally be a collector's piece, that the receiver was like non-functional. Like, you wouldn't be able to, like, undo that, which sucked. But goddamn. Dude, an STG, like, it is surprisingly slim for a gun. Like, it is, like, this fucking thin. I'm not even kidding. It is a thin gun. It is, like, super slick and actually surprisingly pretty lightweight. It's actually a pretty lightweight gun. It's like, damn, Germans like fucking like knew how to make a firearm. It's like, Jesus. SF2 by 9mm Kurz, which was a small version of 7.92 Mauser. Same with Soviet Union shortening to 7.62 by 50mm rims to 6, making a rimless. Yeah, kind of same idea. God, I'd love to fire an SGG-44 though. It's such a cool ass looking gun. Too bad that like the reproduction that I could potentially get though would be in 22, like, you know, like the 22 cal, and it's like, what? It's like, no, I don't want that. It's like, I want it in its original glory. It's like, I don't want this like 22 caliber like plinker bullshit. If I wanted that, I'd get a Ruger 1022 or like, you know, Walther 22 pistol or something, not like a STG. Like, I want the original like beef when it comes to, like, you know, popping that thing off. Like, I don't want none of this like plink plink bullshit. USA should have taken the M2, which wasn't quite out yet, and adapted to 30 cal carbine cartridge to be more of a rifle cartridge, short 30 ounce Postman pistol like. Well, I guess, I mean, at this point, those rounds probably exist, but, I mean, I guess back then they probably just didn't really think about it there quite yet. Even though, like, the 45 caliber probably would have been a pretty decent one for it. Just extend the caliber out a little bit. Or I guess extend, you know, the cartridge for it, but, yeah, too, it's like firearm on carbine used in Korea. Well, didn't they have a version of that in World War II too? I mean, I'm pretty sure at least like from 44 onward they had the M2, you know, for World War II as well, or at least, you know, sometime during the end point. It's round and short like a pistol bullet. Yeah, the 30 cal carbine. Yeah, not the same as like a 30 cal, like, you know, machine gun or something. Was nearly deployed, but not yet. Oh, okay. They probably gave, like, you know, experimental variations to that, you know, to some battalions during World War II. You know, it's kind of a way to test it out, but because I could have sworn, honestly, I mean, they used it, but maybe it was just like variations of the M1 that were kind of used as like kind of a test, you know, for the M2 eventually that would be used later on. I know one thing, at least when it came to paratroopers, like, when it came to the folding stock version of the M1, they fucking hated it. Because, like, the folding stock for the M1 would fold this way, and every time, you know, a lot of the times when they would fire, that fucking buttstock, because it would fold this way, sometimes when they shoot, would literally fold because of the recoil. So when they shot, it would literally go back, and their fucking buttstock would just fold in on them. And thus, obviously, fuck up their accuracy and fuck up their aiming and everything. So a lot of paratroopers, whenever the U.S. Army or would eventually, or like even the British would eventually show up, or their logistical, you know, forces would show up, they straight up would trade the guns. They would be like, hey, yo, that M1 carbine that's like all wood, yo, give me that. Fuck this wood, you know, like folding stock shit. I want this wood one. Like, I want the wooden buttstock one. Fuck this folding stock shit. Like, they would literally do that because of, like, the folding stocks were so poorly made. And I even noticed this because when I was in Cabela's out in Tiger once, they had some of those folding stock M1 carbines. And, oh my god, like, every single one outside of literally one of them were loose as shit, because I would kind of like simulate and hold on to it and kind of like, you know, kind of like push it or kind of like pull it to me. And that stock would, even with my own force of just doing it myself, it would fold in on me. And I'm just like, what the fuck? I'm like, oh god, this is bad. It's like, Jesus. Like, I'm like, do these need tightening? And I would kind of like twinkle with the things, and no, they were tight. It's just that that was a legitimate problem. I was just like, what the hell? Like, why would someone want that? You know, in battle where it's like, I shoot, but oh no, stock folds in on me. What a great idea. You know, what a great concept right there, you know? Couldn't have fixed that, you know, with a little tweak around the edges, but nah, it's all good. It was probably just a way to, like, you know, be cheap when it comes to the production. It was probably just a way to skirt around the edges. Like, yeah, this is kind of an issue, but just replace the bolt. That'll be it. Even though that ain't the problem. This is like, yeah, like, it was probably just a way to skirt around the edges. Shut up! Same thing with the M50 Riesling. 45 experience Strength Marines. Army got all Thompsons. The M55 Riesling was the folding stock version for the vehicle crewmen and paratroopers. Yeah, I mean, yeah, the same thing. Like, because the folding stock design was just poorly made. It was just not a good design. Which, nowadays, folding stock designs are very well done, but for some reason, during that period, no one could figure it out. Why? I don't know. People were dumb. Like, they were dumb back then, you know? So, I don't know. Like, I couldn't tell you why, but, you know, it's like, the folding stocks back then was not exactly a concept that people quite could figure out. And would you shut up? There's no reason for you to be there. Kept them from adapting problems to technology that could have made them win. Well, I know a part of that is because, like, the military, like, high command was literally, like, segregated between the Navy and the Army. Like, they were totally different things. And that included the logistics, you know, the weapons manufacturing, and their Air Force. Like, the Japanese Air Forces, you know, for, like, their armies and their Navy were fundamentally totally different branches. Like, they weren't conglomerated into one thing. So, I know that was a major issue with it, where, like, there was legit, like, a hierarchical, like, different, like, structure of, like, separation between, like, Navy, which, at least for them, was considered a lot more of an educated, aristocratic style, like, you know, military career in comparison to the Army, including their Air Force too, was a lot more like for the peasantry or like the brutish, you know, like, you know, lesser folk, you know, in Japanese society and shit. So there was like literally a major stark difference of how like the bureaucracy and the logistics of the Army, including the Air Force, and the Navy, including their Air Force, was, you know, carried out in government. And that played a major role as to how they kind of fucked themselves over a little bit, because like they didn't have like a mainstream, like streamlined, you know, sense of logistics when it came to distributing equipment. It was like, you know, like a part of their, you know, societal like structure was also so interwoven to the point that it, you know, like it got in the way of actually, you know, benefiting them in the war, where like there was, you know, high command of, you know, Army officers and Navy officers and Air Force, you know, officers of both sides that would literally clash against each other because they thought, oh, we need this equipment more. No, we need it more. No, we need this type of shit. Well, like they would literally bicker and shit. And, you know, the Japanese government would have to decide on who deserves it more. Like, you know, the armies, which were primarily in mainland China, or the navies, which were obviously in the Pacific Oceans fighting America. Like, which one do we pick? You know, there was literally like back and forth, and sometimes those army forces were also on these islands as well. So they had to, you know, logistically deal with that. And there was, you know, a staunch and major like difference of how, you know, they would address that. So sometimes some of these islands, which had like army forces, would get fucked over because, you know, their navy forces would get backed up a little bit. It was jank. It was legitimately jank as fuck. And it was at least a partially, you know, legitimately their downfall, outside of just attacking America in the first place. It was like legit the one case where like fucking with America would literally lead to your downfall because like they awoke the bear a little bit with that one. Because of the industry that America had at the time. I mean, it's not because, like, America was some exceptional nation at the time. It just had, like, an industry that as soon as it became a war economy and a war industry, you would unleash a beast that, like, every nation would quiver, basically. And that's essentially, eventually, kind of what happened. Especially with Japan, with the Manhattan Project. I mean, like, Yamamoto was one of the admirals of Japan at the time, and even he was saying, like, you shouldn't fuck with America. Like, I've literally have studied abroad here. Like, I know how this place is. Like, you don't want to fuck with this. And they disregarded, his criticisms, to attack Pearl Harbor and just did it anyway. And he knew it, and it's like, we unleashed a beast that we're not going to recover from. And, of course, during the war, he eventually died because, American fighter pilots actually found his aircraft that was, transferring him to one place to another and shot him down. So it's just like, he understood that, like, we're kind of fucking with, something that is not exactly a good idea to fuck with right now, especially given our current state. And it was just totally disregarded, and he became a victim of it. And he knew it. Like, I mean, from my understanding, like, when he, kind of leading up to his death, like, he was kind of pretty much, like, from my understanding, like, kind of humbled with it, like, oh, well, this is kind of, an inevitable fate type of thing. Like, yeah, alright, well, shit. This is what happens when you kind of fuck with the beast, and now I'm, feeling that wrath. Oh, well. That's kind of how he felt a little bit, from my understanding. They could have gone to defense and chambered their arms in the same cartridges to their enemy, so they can use the capture animal. Yeah. World War II showed technological doctrinal conservatism needs to die. USA, Germany, USSR adopted technology to paid off well. Yeah. I mean, honestly, being, adaptive and willing to change and progress, especially when things get desperate, and, sticking to, like, a very conservative, like, traditional doctrine doesn't necessarily work at the end. I mean, that's at least, one thing that I guess, definitely came from World War II is that, like, conservative, traditionalistic ideas, especially when it came to, like, warfare, don't necessarily last at the end of the day. In fact, they tend to get, succumbed and quashed away because of people who are willing to adapt and change, given the circumstances and the conditions at hand. I mean, it's kind of like, one of the principles of the art of war is, to adapt and overcome, against your enemy, and there's a lot of different ways of doing so. I mean, it's pretty much the whole principle of the art of war, basically. At least one of them. British tanks use Czech design that produce FK Brunos, Czech machine guns, and thus use a millimeter mouse cartridge, aka for the armors. Yeah. On top of, like, I mean, I know for one thing, at least when it came to, like, the Sten gun, I think that was, like, chambered in 9mm, which Germans had the 9mm Luger rounds, so it was a very common cartridge. So, especially with the Sten gun being so simplistic that you can pretty much basically make that in your garage if you have the tools and the equipment, basically. Like, I mean, it's a weapon that, can be made pretty fucking easily. It's so simplistic and uses a 9mm cartridge, which the Germans used, like, a lot of nations were using at the time. It was a very common round, and, anyone can use it. And in fact, it ended up being a very popular, fun, very common gun that a lot of partisans used a lot because, like I said, it was very easy to produce. It was very easy to just, if you had the tools and the equipment and the right parts, you could basically make that in your own fucking garage. It's like, it wasn't really exactly a hard gun to produce. Like, they gave the blueprints, the basic ways of how to make it to partisans and shit, and they basically just make that in their own little underground fucking basements and shit. I mean, like, one common thing about, like, especially for the buttstock, like, sometimes it will literally be, like, a coat hanger that would be the buttstock, like, that some people would manufacture it with, like, when it came to just making it in their basements. It's like, sometimes, like, the spring would basically be, like, the spring off of a door or some shit. and stuff like that. Like, it was as long as you had like the right stuff and knew how to, work your way around like a firearm and manufacture something like that, especially if blueprints are given to you, and shit. Like, the stun gun is something that you can make, like I said, in your fucking basement, and a lot of people did, because the round and the cartridge for it was a very common cartridge to find, and, it wasn't hard to use, pretty easy to shoot, and the whole shebang. Like, it wasn't exactly, complicated. Very simplistic. I guess one could say stupid proof. Was the Lanchester near identical copy of the MP34, a simpler cousin of Sen? Yeah, like the British, being conservative morons, they weren't exactly fond of SMGs. Which is why, at least, for the British military, at least in World War II, the only submachine gun that you really hear about is the stun gun. Because they weren't exactly big on, adapting and overcoming to newer and better technology that was around at the time. Like the Lee Enfield's, rifle that's been around for a long time, but that was basically the standard for, a British soldier literally all throughout World War II. And it's a bolt-action rifle. Despite, like, a lot of soldiers, especially late in the war, having, like, Thompson submachine guns and STG-44, or, like, all the, guns that were automatic, and shit. And if they did have, rifles, they would be semi-automatic rifles. Not bolt-actions like a Lee Enfield. Like, Lee Enfield's a very damn good rifle and shit, I will admit, but, like, it's still a little obsolete considering the other weapons that are being used at that very same time. It's like, the British, like, military high command were definitely conservative idiots and did not adapt to a lot of the fucking tech that was being, thrown at them at the time. I mean, really, the only thing that they adapted and advanced in was really their Air Force and probably, their armored divisions, when it came to tanks. But, like, beyond that, like, they never really adapted that much. Like, they were naive, in the sense of, like, their naval superiority, which, just because of that alone, they were able to kind of hold it. But it's, like, the one thing they basically didn't have to change anything with. Like, I mean, even then, they still had to adapt a little bit, and they still had to change, all things considered. But not really as much, and we're able to at least do so without, having a severe loss. But, like, British Navy isn't necessarily known as the strongest, like, like, king of the seas anymore. I think kind of America has that title now at this point. So, is it because, like, Britain didn't adapt enough? Or is it just because we just got better? I don't know. Probably a little both, honestly. If Britain, was able to adapt to, these certain things, they probably would still be, like, the top dog when it comes to things like naval superiority and stuff like that. But, not really. We kind of hold that title now. We hold it for them. It always bugged me about Battlefield 1942. The Brits didn't have a stand. The Japanese didn't have the Type 100. The Russians didn't have the PPSH, PPD. British didn't have the Bren, etc. You know what? You're right. All the times I played Battlefield 1942, you're right. I guess that's the one thing that Battlefield 5 has against the 1942 is that it does have a lot of those guns, like the stun gun and the Bren and even the Madsen and other weapons and like that and shit. So I guess Battlefield 5 definitely has like a one-up on 1942 with that. Because, like, those weapons should most certainly be there. I didn't even realize that, honestly. Japanese and USSR had the MP-28. Why would the USSR have the MP-20? What the Although DLC added Sen and the Bren. You know what? That's, like I remember playing Battlefield 1942 growing up, and I also remember it in its complete, even with DLCs and everything, later on. because I remember distinctly like the stand and the brand, weren't there and stuff like that. But later down the line, I remember like they added that, so that's probably the DLCs. But still, it's just like, man, a little bit of fuck up. You probably did have them in small numbers, mostly Spartan devs. Yeah, I mean, it kind of was, because I mean it's a very distinct thing. Like, I mean, everyone knows about them. I mean, I guess the PPSH 43, I suppose I could get, because the 43 is meant to be the production, date, basically, for 1943. So I can get that, I guess. But even then, like, I'm pretty sure they were used, even before then. But, I mean, fuck if I know. I know when it comes to numbers, sometimes that's, like, based off the year that they're made. Like, Grovera 98, that's because it's a combat rifle or battle rifle model 1898, hence Grovera 98, shit like that. Like, so I know sometimes numbers in a weapon, that's kind of what it means, so I always thought, like, a PPSH 43 meant, like, a PPSH, the name of the manufacturer or the name of the model of the gun, and then 43 for 1943. So, if it's Battlefield 1942, I can get if a PPSH 43 is not there, but the PPD, that was, like, around since at least, like, 41, at the very least. Even then, the PPSH is, like, basically a carbon copy of the Samoy 31 and stuff, and during the Winter War, that's kind of where they copied the gun, is, during that time. So, yeah, it would have been around, probably, at least during that time, but maybe not in mass numbers, but nonetheless, it still would have been a weapon that would have been around. The only tech British have different Americans is the bolt action and the fighter plane. Oh my god, wow. That's... Man, you're making me remember some of Battlefield 1942, and Jesus Christ, yeah, it was a little lazy. Ugh. For the flaws that Battlefield 5 has, at least there is a little bit more of a diversity when it comes to weapons and the factions and stuff. I just wish that they kept going, at least for the Eastern Front. Like Battlefield 5 could have had a little more going for it. Such a hit and miss, that particular game. It started off so bad because of how they initially released it with the advertisement, and then as they, updated it over time, it legitimately got better, and then it just stopped. Like, after the Pacific War or the Pacific Front, they're just like, nah, we're done. Even though it's like, you have an Eastern Front, you have, like, a whole, like, element of, like, World War II, which is meant, like, which is what Battlefield 5 is supposed to be about, like, that whole timeline, right? Like, you have a whole section that's just, like, not even explored. It's like, I mean, at the very least, even if it's, like, 3 maps and, like, maybe, like, 2 updates with it, if you had at least, like, Eastern Front with it, I feel like that game would have been, like, legitimately very fucking good at the very end of it all. But it just fell fucking short. And by the time they got to, like, the American side with the Pacific and all that stuff, they just went, like, way too, like, action-based. Like, I remember, like, the trailer for when they released, like, the Iwo Jima and that stuff, and, when it came to, like, the American and Japanese section of everything, it was just, like, almost, like, a Tom Cruise level, like, action film shit. And it's, like, I get it, but, like, what the fuck is this? It's like, come on. I mean, the maps and the gameplay and everything, like, overall are really good. Like, I love, at the end of the day, I like Battlefield 5. I've played it still, up until this point, at this point. Like, I mean, it's still a fun game, but, like, it's still a hit and a miss. It's like, man, they just dropped the ball with that pretty much, like, at the beginning and at the very end. It's like they tried to redeem it, but then they just, like, fucked it all up at the very end. Just like how they did at the very beginning. It's like, come on, man. It's like, what the hell? This made me sad. It's just a very sad thing. World War II games on fronts ignored in media like Southeast Asia, Burma, Greece. Oh yeah, no, I feel ya. Even with Italy, yeah, Norway and Aleutians, I'm probably mispronouncing that. Romania, Hungary, Poland, yeah, honestly. Like, Battlefield 5 was probably the closest in that, even despite my criticisms, because they did have a multiplayer map and a campaign mission in Norway, with talking about, like, kind of referring to the partisans, in Norway and the British invasion, into Norway against the German occupation there. Like, they did, like, Battlefield 5 at least kind of made a little bit of token, a gesture basically towards that, but like there really needs to be like a World War II like gameplay or like a campaign that's based in like in Italy, Greece, or like or like in the Balkans, when it comes to like Yugoslavia or Croatia and shit like that. I mean, Romania, or hell, a campaign, like a mission, or like a campaign, or a game, that's based about like the Polish partisans. I mean, there's all sorts of shit. I mean, there's a lot of different stuff about like World War II that isn't really explored, because there's a lot of shit that can be explored with it. I mean, we all know about like Normandy and the Western Front, and then, like Stalingrad. We all know all that shit. We already get it. We get it. That happened. But, like, what about all this other shit? Like, the, Norwegian partisans, or, like, the Polish partisans, and, like, Warsaw, and, in different places. And, like, the uprisings that even happened in fucking concentration camps and shit. Like, and all these other things. Like, there could be video games or even film based around these things more. Because there's a lot of fucking fruit, to be harvested from that type of stuff. More North Africa. Yeah, even North Africa. I mean, it'd be pretty cool to have, like, a Call of Duty World War II based game that, takes place specifically around North Africa and, like, the Italian campaigns and stuff. Wasn't COD 2 in Battlefield 1942. Yeah, I mean, it was, but it was kind of more of like a, gesture. But if there was like kind of like a game that was predominantly based around that type of specific campaign, that would be, kind of cool. Because even Call of Duty World War II is basically just based around Normandy and like the European Western Front and shit. And it's like, how many games and how many World War II based games are already based on that, It's just like, let's have some shit that's like based on stuff that we don't really see much of. Like the Italian campaign, or the, North Africa, or, some other parts of the Eastern Front that aren't really, known about. Like, St. Petersburg, or Leningrad, I guess it would be called at that point. Or, in Belarus, or in Ukraine, or even in the Balkans, like, with Yugoslavia and Croatia and those regions, or in Greece. Like, there's a lot of fucking areas that, are ripe for the picking. Like, imagine if there's, like, a video game based on the invasion of Crete. Like where the Italians are fucking the entire thing up, and then the SS have to basically paradrop their way in. The Fallschirmjäger have to come in and save the day, and even then, they fucking have to struggle with bullshit. Because a bunch of Crete farmers were just like, no, we're not gonna accept this. And just like fought, every step of the way. It's like, honestly, the whole like invasion of Crete, that in itself, could be a whole video game and a movie and everything. Like, I mean, just that in itself. I mean, it's a pretty crazy story. Because the Fallschirmjäger and the SS, they even had problems trying to fucking take over the island. Like, the Italians were just like, can you please help us? And the, Germans are just like, oh my fucking god. Like, another time where Mussolini and his fucking campaigns where they're begging for us to help. And they come into Crete, and they're like, oh, wait, oh shit, they actually were having a hard time. God damn, this is tough. Like, they go into Crete, and they're like, even the Germans were like, oh shit, this is kind of hard. This is tough. God damn. I mean, there could be a whole thing about, like, Crete in itself, honestly. I mean, because, I mean, it was, like, the Axis had a legit hard time taking that island. Like, a very hard time. And they were basically just, like, some of the Greek garrisons and just farmers that were fighting against them. And it's, like, damn, based. Awesome. Battlefield 1942 had great DLCs. Road to Rome, which added Italy and Free French, and Secret Weapons War 2, which added all the crowd space magic that standard in Battlefield 5. Space magic. I feel bad for Italian soldiers that are brave but unequipped and poorly commanded. I mean, I kind of feel the same way, honestly, because, like, when the Allies started doing their Italy campaign, there was legit, like, a lot of times where the Italian army basically just straight up surrendered and just, pretty much quickly, shortly after that, switched sides. Like, the Italian army, like, I mean, a lot of the Italians, at that point of the war were pretty disenfranchised with Mussolini and weren't a big fan of him at that point. So there was straight up, like, a lot of mutiny that was starting to happen on the Italian front, specifically through the Italians and the Italian military. I mean, it wasn't, like, absolutely widespread, but it started becoming more and more common and more of a thing as, the Allies, made their campaign through Italy. Because, a lot of the Italians, got more disenfranchised with Mussolini and shit. Which is why, at least during World War II, there was, like, the Allied, command Italy, in the south, and then, the Mussolini, fascist-held Italian Republic in the north. Because essentially there was legit a rift where a lot of Italians essentially did a mutiny against Mussolini and essentially collaborated with the Allies and established their own government, which eventually became the Italian government afterwards. A lot of Italian POWs that were murdered, tortured by Greek partisans. The support Greeks for defending their sovereign home from the act. Yeah, I mean, World War II wasn't exactly pretty for either side. Like, there was a lot of war crimes that the Allies did, even for Italy and shit. Like, there was a few times where Americans straight up, like, took, like, Italian and German prisoners and shit, and just straight up, like, literally put them up against a wall. Like, straight up. And that shit was common on both sides. It's, like, on various different fronts. This Yugoslav, I guess you called him an arms designer who proposed the military to use opiates as a chemical weapon, as to gas the enemies. Gas the enemy with heroin. Well, I mean, that's definitely something I haven't heard of before. Like, that's one way to, I guess, take out your enemy, I guess. Like, Jesus. I gotta sprinkle leak real quick. I'll be right back. Remember the man. Dude. Oh my, holy shit. Goddamn, dog. Psycho over here. Ah! What? What the hell? god. You're fucking insane. Well, where the fuck are you going? Whatever. You know what? I don't even care. I don't even know where he went. What an absurd little freak. Dog of the drunk late night ocean dives MC. Oh shit. Oh my god, I had a weird like fucking bot come in here earlier. Jesus Christ. 69.xxs site. Oh, a little different in comparison to the first weirdo earlier. Why am I not surprised? Yeah, you. Hey, get back over here. Hey. Oi. Get over here so I can close that damn door. Get over here. Come here. You little butt. God, you're a freak. I'll take fentanyl gas as a chemical weapon. It's more humane way to... Some of the bullets are explosives. Well, I imagine that, like, any wartime specific thing would just be a bad period. Whether bullet explosives or fentanyl gas. Come here, you fucking freak. Come on. Oh my god. Ugh. Look at you, got your fucking little laser beam, little weirdo. Paw. That wrong paw. Paw. It's not a paw. 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 Well, you just dropped it. You freak. Oh my god, look at him. Jesus. You freak. Oh my god. Holy shit. You nutball. Oh my god. You freak. Hey, paw. There you go. Go on. What a psychopath. What a fucking psycho. Focus on that like a goddamn laser. Jesus. It's like you got fucking like auto aim, dude. You're nut. You're a freak, dude. Community being blood. Well, if that's the case, then like, wouldn't there just be more peace and not war? So there wouldn't even be war. Fentanyl gas. Well, I mean, at that point, you might as well just have like, you know, psilocybin gas or like acid gas or something. I mean, you might as well have something that doesn't kill anybody, but at least lets them have a trip of, you know, introspection or something. If he did have to kill someone. Well, I guess, well, if you're gonna just do that, you might as well do, like, you know, like, some acid gas or something. Marijuana gas. I mean, there you go. Just, like, have, like, pure THC, you know, smoke, you know, just, like, envelop, you know, your lungs. I mean, there you go. I mean, you know, like, why have lethal gas? Really high THC content water vapor. Like, literally 99.99% THC vapor. Yeah. I'm down with that. Not even Hitler. I mean, like, on principle, like, I am against it, but I can make exceptions to the rule in Hitler's one of those exceptions, honestly. Like, I mean, I can make exceptions to the rule if there's, like, without a shadow of a doubt, like, obvious, like, you know, crime, you know, to what they've done. I mean, but, you know, beyond that, like, I mean, yeah. Suppose on philosophical grounds. Yeah, I mean, I guess I normally would, like I said, but like I said, I make exceptions to the rule, I guess. So, I mean, usually for the most part, yeah, but there are definitely some people I could think of that could probably, well, you know, use that. Oh, now he wants to be in a little ball and curl up and be sleepy. What a jerk. Be a little cocaine ball most of the night up until near the end. Wow. Not surprised. What a jerk. No post-war criminals Roblox themselves as favorite society. Yeah, well, so I guess even Rip City has exceptions to the rule. He just kind of phrased it a little differently than I did. Which, yeah, like, that's kind of an example. Like, the Nuremberg trials, like, honestly, I wish that went further. Like, I feel like there was a lot of Nazis that we kind of, you know, let go just because they happened to benefit us when it came to certain things. It's like, that don't really mean much, but I guess, you know, to the American establishment at the time, and the Soviet establishment at the time, too, you know, it's like, I guess the UK and France, it's like, yeah. Shut up! Got punishment, I outflank most lefties. Well, I guess you do. He's too religious and tries to correct politics. Connecting politics and religious to God just been kind of BS. Oh, Warnock. Yeah, I mean, I kind of have an issue with that. But, I mean, he's not like Jim Jonesian with it, I suppose, or like, you know, Joel Osteen level with it. So, I mean, I guess there's that. It's not like, you know, a total, like, outright unhinged freak. It's kind of weird for the U.S. Well, I mean, it's not totally weird. Because there's people like Jim Jones and, like, I forgot his name, but, like, Father Divine, I think it was his nickname. Like, these type of people who are, like, you know, preachers and religious figures, you know, that, you know, have had, at least, you know, some prominence. And obviously a lot of them very extreme, you know, like Jim Jones, like I mentioned, like, he's a very extreme dude. You know, to the point that he, well, I mean, well, do we need to say Jim Jones, Jonestown, you know, so, yeah, but, like, at least with, like, Father Divine, though, not as much, though, like, he didn't do anything like that, but was, like, one of these, like, socialistic, like, leftist preachers that basically literally thought he was, like, the second coming of Christ, but, I mean, he did kind of come from it from a left-wing perspective, but nonetheless was still kind of religiously cuckoo. So, please shut up. Jim Jones and Alex Jones are related. I mean, kind of, in a sense that, like, they're cultists and religious, like, extremists, but not really in, like, political philosophy, though. Less than black Democrats, really, well, yeah. Hope that dog finally chilled out. No, I mean, like, relatives. I mean, I don't think they are. I'm pretty sure they're not related whatsoever. They just have a same last name. Like, they're distant cousins, maybe. Maybe. Bill Hicks fixed his advent. Yeah, I know about it. I mean, I kind of know about that conspiracy, and honestly, it's just kind of fucking ridiculous. Because mainly, like, Bill Hicks was around even when Alex Jones was doing his thing, at least in his early days. So, it's like, how's that even, it just doesn't even make sense. And it's like, yeah, I mean, they kind of have similar, like, facial features and stuff like that, but they're literally are not the same person. Or even related. That Nine's Alex Jones was much more progressive, somewhat a line of Hicks politically. I mean, kind of, but he still kind of had like a bent, you know, a little bit when it came to his, you know, his shit, but it, I mean, yeah, I mean, it was kind of more strictly, like, libertarian based, more so than, like, right-wing based at that point. He declared bankruptcy, which gives Sandy families past source to take control of InfoWars. I mean, didn't he already declare bankruptcy of InfoWars? I thought he already did that. Why in the fuck am goddamn fucking yawning? Get out of here. Fuck you, yawns. So, not much more crazy than 2000's Joe Rogan. In 2000's Joe Rogan wasn't even doing his podcast yet or anything. Picture if InfoWars became an anti-conspiracy channel. That would never happen. I mean, it's still going to be like the weird anti-Semitic, far-right, conspiratorial, nonsensical bullshit that it's been. I mean, it like... that's asking for a little too much. He declared personal by the ghosting, which means 100% stake in the InfoWars parent company is on the table. I mean, he is somebody that has, like, the money to be able to, like, still own InfoWars and shit. Like, I mean, I don't necessarily think that means, like, you know, InfoWars is only going to be owned by the parent, you know, like, by these, you know, Sandy Hook victims and shit. Like, he's still going to be able, like, I mean, I guess in a sense that, like, you know, at least with these, you know, lawsuits and shit, like, they at least have some sense of peace, but, like, Alex Jones is still spewing his bullshit. Like, he just recently had fucking Kanye West on. Like, he, you know, has all these fucking anti-Semitic far-right extremists on his show all the fucking time. Like, he's still doing his thing. I mean, he's still making fucking buck off of it. Like, I mean, I don't really think much is going to be changing off of that. He doesn't have the money. He owes $1.5 billion, no more than $40 million assets. Do you really think he's going to be able to fucking... like, do you really think he's going to be paying any of that off? Like, there ain't no way. This is Joe Rogan talks social politics around then. It's kind of the usual Bush's evil, YouTube, and legal Bush's evil kind of populist stuff. I mean, he still kind of does shit like that every now and then. I mean, it doesn't necessarily mean he's, like, you know, been the same or, like, he was, like, more progressive back then or anything. it's just that a lot of the issues that he kind of crows about aren't necessarily, like, were big issues back then yet. There's a big article about this. I mean, I don't know. Like, I don't really necessarily see Alex Jones being, like, somehow knocked off the airwaves or InfoWars, suddenly, being, like, crumbling from the inside out because of that. He's to take control of a shutdown InfoWars, which I don't necessarily see either happening. Like, I mean, because if hypothetically InfoWars supposedly gets shut down, they're just going to prop up as, some other entity, and they're still going to be able to find a way to get their show out there. I mean, if they take control of it, like, how? Like, I mean, I guess that would be the main question with that. Like, considering that, like, a lot of the producers and the people of that show are all in one area, which is in the InfoWars HQ, wherever the fuck that is. So, I mean, it's like I said, I don't really see much really coming from that. If I ever am bringing a team, easier to shut down. Which, either way, they could just, like, all, get together or band together under a new brand. Or at least, a name change or something. Like, they'll probably still keep the InfoWars label, but just add something to it, so it's not exactly the same InfoWars that's being controlled, by, St. Hood families and shit. So they don't get, like, some copyright lawsuit over that. I mean, that's... What the fuck? What are you doing? Yeah, go away. Damn dog. What the fuck? Can you also chill out? Jesus. Everything's like fucking getting on my nerves. What the fuck? Are you getting on my nerves again? Can you stop? He's pulling out a chair right now. Well, he did. Now he's just staring at me. Like weird, blind, dumb deer staring at headlights. What a fucking weirdo, dude. What a weird ass dog. Do you mind? Can you quit staring at me? Like, I could feel him just looking at me. It's just annoying. This goddamn dog, dude. What are you doing? This dog is so fucking weird. He's literally just sniffing the chair that's over there. What a weirdo. What a weird ass little dog. I don't even know what to do with him. Really don't. Do I just need to, like, shave you up, skin you, and just, like, stuff you up in a little crock pot? Mix you up with, like, some potatoes and some carrots, some onions and stuff like that? make you up in a little fucking stew, turn you into a soup. So I'll do that, damn it. I'll turn you, I'll stuff you in a little crock pot and let you boil up for a nice good 8 hours and all that good shit. Little prick. After all the shit that you do to me, a little menace to society. You menace to society. I'm kidding. I'm not actually being serious. I'm not going to stuff him in a crock pot. It's tempting, though. Alex Joanne's. Alex Joanne's, where you can get your conspiratorial fabric designs. Yes. Your conspiratorial arts and crafts. You don't even need to make an aluminum tinfoil hat. We already have that made for you for $9.99. And if you have a membership deal, you can get it for $2 off for $7.99. Some good shit at Alex Joanne's Arts and Crafts Conspiratorial Shop. It's good shit. I think I'll smoke up this last little bowl and get myself some food and go wrestle even. Because I think there's some pizzas that are calling my name. Anyway, peace out. And of course, I should be back around for the next one, so